2,500 vehicles, 14 locations, over 200 used cars and trucks under $10,000. And save on a huge selection of off-lease vehicles during our off-lease event. It's easy to see why Hoosiers have trusted Hubler for over 50 years. Visit drivehubler.com. Hubler has it all. All offers with approved credit. See dealer for details.
The Sundown Gardens Fall Sale is here. Save on all trees and shrubs, including bald and burlapped evergreens. During Sundown Gardens Fall Sale, save 20% on all trees and shrubs. Save now and plant during the milder weather. Come spring, they'll be ready to grow when the sun hits them. Sundown Gardens has ornamental grasses, hydrangeas for sun or shade, shrub roses, and boxwood. During Sundown Gardens Fall Sale, save 30% on all pottery and indoor fall decor, too. Sundown Gardens, 186 and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
Bet on the game while you watch it. Live streaming of matches with loads of in-game betting options. Download BetRivers Sportsbook or go to BetRivers.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Save up to $150 off sets of Big O brand tires now through October 11th. Only at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, the team you trust.
This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis. Your home for Colts football.
Taylor again cuts back, and he's close to the goal line. There it is, touchdown.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
What in the hell do you think you're doing?
Hey, John Boy.
I'm telling you straight, it's my way or the highway. So anybody wants to walk, do it now.
Hey, everybody, we're all gonna get laid.
And again, it's picked up. It's Darius Leonard, a pick six for the Maniac. Touchdown, I-N-D-Y. Yes, sir.
Was kept alive by Oldest Depot. And Sabonis with a left hand.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV, FM 107.5 and 1070 The Fan.
All right, let's get started on a Wednesday. What a glorious day it is out there today. I just sat down on that chair and I realized I hadn't changed it. You could tell. That is not a good feeling right there. Anybody else have a warm chair sitting down for the first time phobia like me? I mean, big time. I cannot do it. It's kind of like one of those public toilet seat situations. If you sit down and it's warm, so I sat down here and had to change that bad boy really quick. I, for one, and Kyle and I were discussing this a little bit earlier. I think it'd be cool if you got New Orleans and the Chargers up in here. As, I guess, is being knocked around. What is it, Hurricane Delta? I mean, just another hurricane. I think about all the time. I think I've said this before. My friend Kyle Kinnett that runs Bullseye Event Group, we were talking about, one of these days we need to make our final play like having some oyster processing plant or something like that down in the Delta, down on the coast, the Gulf of Mexico and Louisiana. Like do oysters or shrimp, kind of like Bubba Gump, right? Something like that. But, man, because I love houses on stilts. But it's just like every month during hurricane season, these guys are in the crosshairs. I mean, hell, they just got out of the crosshairs. Last, they're right back into it. So we shall see. I think it'd be fun. I don't know if they would allow anybody in there. What are we going to allow coming up on October the 18th? 12,500? I'll have tickets for you for that Bengals game. That's the matchup. 12,500 coming up on October the 18th. Think they would allow anybody? Hey, this Titan situation is going to get interesting. Investigating super secret meetings going on outside the facility when the facility is closed. Now you get with the Patriots earlier today. Stephon Gilmore tested positive for COVID-19. Now there are all kinds of question marks coming up this weekend for scheduling. Again, I'll say this. I mean, you knew this stuff was going to happen. Now, I didn't think about, I guess you could have thought about it. Secret meetings, things like that. I got to have more. I need to hear more about the secret meetings. But when you think about it, if they find out something was so egregious where they feel the NFL needs to do something about it, you know who would directly benefit from something like that, you would guess. Not to suggest that they need it, but let's just say something has been going on down there against the rules. And not the Patriots against the rules. Not the Patriots owner in a rub and tug. Nothing against the rules. It's non-Patriots division against the rules. We'll see where this investigation leads as far as that is concerned. But, I mean, it could. I mean, maybe it does have some ramifications further down the road. There's just some crazy stuff going on right now. And Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins is done in Washington now. Just a couple of years ago, he was drafted as their future quarterback. You change head coaches. Ron Rivera comes in, gets one of his guys, Kyle Allen, in there. I mean, Haskins is not even the backup. Alex Smith goes to the backup position, and Haskins just goes all the way down to third here. Seems like that time is come and gone. It is incredible, that. Let's try to figure out my Larceny Bourbon Locks, our Luna Azul shots a little bit earlier today, right? I have to do mine on Wednesday. And I'm looking at the schedule coming up this weekend. And provided the schedule goes off without a hitch, and certainly that is well up in the air right now for COVID-19 reasons and for the fact that there's an incoming hurricane in the Gulf that may end up compromising that game. Actually, when is that? Did I get that wrong? That this week? Yeah, that's this weekend, right? Why can't I find it on here? I was just looking for what I was picking. And what, did I skip over it or something? What the hell's going on with me here? Ah, there it is. I didn't go down far enough. They could compromise the Chargers and the Saints coming up on Monday night. But these are some tough games. There's some big fat numbers. There's some stuff that really doesn't make a lot of sense. I will say this. We're going to see, this is going to be the raising of the bar even further for the Colts. And we'll talk to Anthony Walker, the linebacker, about that coming up at the bottom of the hour, because all signs point to the Browns being legit. And it's the first time in a long time that you can talk about that. We had Jake Trotter on yesterday from ESPN.com who covers the Browns, and he said, last year it was just commonplace weekly for me to have to pound out some article about just some nonsense, some foolishness, this huge soap opera. I mean, the dynamic of the soap opera completely took over. Now it seems like at 3-1, you might have something going on there. Yeah, last check, when I turned mine in, I think, look at the line right now. The Colts are 1.5 favorites. I took it at 2. But that's going to be iffy right there. Because the one thing the Browns have done, they can get it done offensively. They put up 300-plus rushing yards against the Cowboys. Now, granted, I mean, the Cowboys' run defense, or really defense under Mike Nolan in general, has been an absolute circus. I mean, it's been a joke. But it's kind of like what the Colts are doing, putting up numbers. At some point, you have to look at it, and I'm talking about defensive numbers here. You have to look at it, and you just have to say, all right, well, here's credit where credit is due. At some point, we all understand that the Jets suck and the Vikings just won their first game last weekend, and the Bears and Nick Foles, when he's named a starter, he always stinks. At some point, you're just going to have to look at it and say, all right, well, they're really good until they play an offense that is up to what your judgment is about a quality offensive NFL team. At some point. That point is expected coming up on Sunday. Now, when we were talking to Jake Trotter yesterday, his impression of Baker Mayfield is just kind of average. Just kind of an average guy. But you've got weapons, and you've got other things that you can do. I don't know if they exhausted all their trick plays in Dallas last weekend. But Kevin Stefanski comes in there and just kind of takes over the reins. Finally, somebody does. And they've had some talent there. I mean, you have Beckham on one side and Landry on the other, and then you add tight end Austin Hooper to the mix. I mean, you lose Nick Chubb to an injury, but you have Kareem Hunt to back him up. I mean, you have some pretty good offensive weaponry right there. And then when you look at it from a Brown standpoint, something else we brought up yesterday, they're also looking at this Colts team coming in saying, all right, how do we legitimize ourselves here? We beat this team. I mean, that's kind of what you're thinking about with the Colts. How do you legitimize a team when they're 4-1? Well, you go on the road, even though there's, the home field thing, whatever. But you go 4-1 and you beat a team that offensively has put up some good numbers, and especially on the run. And if you're the Browns, you beat a team that defensively has put up some special numbers. Still searching offensively, no question about it. And that's something that's going to have to be figured out. When you looked at schedule before the start of the season, this wasn't the game I thought that they would take or have, in this case, more issue with. I thought that would be more of the Vikings, but we saw, Vikings out of the gate just did not appear, especially defensively and at the quarterback position, anywhere near prime time. Now, if you want to compare the Vikings to the Browns, obviously the Browns have a couple of more wins, but the Vikings and the Browns quarterback, you can make a comparison there of guys that sometimes can give you a spark, but other times look certainly average. The Browns have better offensive weapons and certainly a better defense than what the Vikings have. I probably would not have hard targeted the Browns being one of those really significant gauge games before they hit that run coming up in November that begins with the Ravens right here. The Browns and the Bengals, Joe Burrow's been impressive so far this year, but, they're probably going to take a licking at the hands in Baltimore of the Ravens coming up this weekend. Hey, you got the Lions, and you know this about the Lions, when everybody starts reminiscing about Jim Caldwell and his time there, you know that the time of Matt Patricia is just about done. When you start reminiscing about the glory of head coach Jim Caldwell and how he was cut loose and Patricia was brought in with his pencil in his ear and his beard. So this is going to turn out to be the most significant test for this Colts team coming up on Sunday, which brings us to this, a Connecticut water question of the day, if you will. How much more does this offense have to show you? You feel this defense is legit right now. It seems like this offense is still pretty far from it. And as I mentioned yesterday, you can logically look at it, and you can look at the loss of bodies as, maybe you're just not going to be able to make that up. You just maybe won't be able to make up life without Paris Campbell, life without Marlon Mack, and, what you thought was going to be the dual threat. Don't get me wrong. Everybody in the NFL basically is dealing with injuries. Dealing with COVID positives. Mostly injuries, and we're talking about significant injuries. But is there any point where you kind of look at, and I know that we've been on play calling, and certainly I think that's the case. We didn't like it in week number 1 in that loss against Jacksonville. We didn't like the way the defense was set up in week number 1. It seems like the defense has really changed. That's something we'll ask Anthony Walker about coming up here at the bottom of the hour. At least what they were trying to do compared to week 1 and with what we have seen the past couple of weeks. And that was something we brought up to Xavier Rhodes on Monday, too. Was that just an acclimation process that was going on there, or was there a little bit more behind it? It was just really soft and, bring it to us. Hopefully we'll stop you. If we don't stop you, we'll hold you to a 3-point opportunity, whatever. It just seems like that philosophy, it is more of a pointed philosophy of aggression right now, which, frankly, it's what a lot of Colts fans have been screaming about absolutely forever. Now, you can make the argument whether or not they've had the personnel to play like that, to be that aggressive. Maybe it's just the evolution early season-wise of, a guy that's been a huge difference maker here as of late and really defines why Chris Ballard wanted to go out and felt compelled not only to trade number 13 for DeForest Buckner, but then write him a significant check. If there's one thing that, by definition of play, shows true, it's that. Makes complete sense. And it has, because you can see when this guy's up front, when he's wrecking things up front, it makes it, and that's something else Xavier Rhodes and I talked about on Monday, it makes those in that secondary, feel more comfortable about trying to go out and ball hawk, to make plays. I mean, you look at these significant additions around the NFL. Think about this one just for a moment, Kyle. Of the offseason changes, the significant additions, where might DeForest Buckner rank? And I know what you're going to say, and don't factor in the soft schedule so far. Factor in that they're 3-1, and just look at the data. Just look at the numbers, right? I mean, would that not be? You're talking about a middle-of-the-road at best defense that now is putting up incredible numbers early season. How much of that can you tie in to the play of DeForest Buckner? One of those significant players brought in the offseason.
It's probably him, Stephon Diggs in Buffalo, or DeAndre Hopkins in Arizona. Those are the three non-quarterback additions to a team that have had the biggest impact so far.
Well, I mean, and Tom Brady, obviously.
But non-quarterback. But
I understand. But I think you could factor in, if you wanted to, quarterbacks. I mean, I don't think it's out of this world to go ahead and factor in quarterbacks and, come up to a conclusion with DeForest Buckner and his effect. I'm not trying to give him all the credit in the world. This defense has played really well. But what I'm trying to do is show you through conversation how significant an offseason acquisition, when certainly you give up number 13 for that and then you pay a guy big. Because part of the argument back then, if you remember, San Francisco has all these guys, or did have all these guys defensively that they felt they could lean on, right? And Bosa and Armstead and D Ford, I mean, they were loaded defensively. And it kind of felt like the DeForest Buckner was the odd man out. And really what they did is, they traded for number 13, and then they drafted Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina, and they were going to fill the gap that they created by trading DeForest Buckner with Kinlaw. But, I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due with DeForest Buckner and the effect that he has had on this team, and especially on the defensive side. Look at the free agent acquisitions in the offseason. Or in this case, the free agent trades. I don't know how many of them there might be, but of guys that have changed teams. Just think about the overall effect that they have had on those teams, and then factor in where you think DeForest Buckner is in that entire conversation. Because he's been huge. I mean, absolutely huge. I mean, I'd have to look at the numbers for Arizona. I don't know if DeAndre Hopkins has had that type of effect in Arizona. I mean, the numbers for the Colts defense, whether you believe them or not, the numbers for the Colts defense ridiculous right now. I can't remember a time when we were looking at those types of numbers, regardless of the competition, regardless of the soft schedule to start. Think about that one, and we'll jump back to the Connecticut Water question of the day. I think you can go ahead and factor in quarterbacks in this. If you want to put in Cam Newton, Tom Brady, Teddy Bridgewater, I think you can factor them in. There's guys that have changed, and the significance of change for that particular team. I think it stands to reason that DeForest Buckner is at the top of that list. We can discuss it if you like at 239-1070. Email address at jmv@1070thefan.com. The show is on Twitter at jmv1070. Thank you very much My man, Captain Everyman's all over Phillip Rivers again. He's not getting benched. He's not getting benched. It's not going to happen. I'm not trying to make excuses for him either because, listen, you're right. He didn't look good at all this weekend. But this is just not some cult that we put together here. This is not some anti-Jacoby Brissett. I like Jacoby Brissett. I like the fact that Jacoby Brissett on the sideline is still dialed in and into it and is you can see him actually rooting for, being happy for his teammates. And what probably is just a tremendous disappointment. And probably, not even probably, it is. I mean, think about the disappointment. Think about how hard that would be to do. I know. You get $15 million or so, and that's going to soften the blow. But still, I mean, you obviously carry, all these guys carry ego, pride. Yeah, I know we got most of the definition of pride from the film Pulp Fiction, but I know it's easy to write it off as, well, you're getting paid millions of dollars to really do nothing. But that would still stick. There's no way all of you out there would feel the same way. So there's no big conspiracy. There's no anti-Jacoby Brissett conspiracy going on. There is just, for the most part, the belief that this 38-year-old quarterback is going to be a better option for the now and then the shorter term moving forward than what Brissett was going to be. And we'll see where those numbers are. And I'm not trying to make an excuse out of saying, well, you're missing this guy and that guy, because these guys, especially at the wide receiver position, these guys have been dropping like flies for years. So there's no excuses being made there. But I think most people would still give a thumbs up to where they have gone. And, I know people want to factor in, well, you pay the guy $25 million. Who cares? I mean, you felt, and remember, they tried to sell everybody. They being the Colts, everybody. And we denounced it. And then after the 5-2 start, we brought it back up. And then we denounced it again when they finished 7-9. They're the ones that brought up this guy was a top 20 quarterback. And nobody in their right mind running an organization or coaching an NFL team is going to bench a top 20 guy when you just lost your guy for the future because he decided to quit on you 2 weeks before the start of the season a year ago. So they also came to the conclusion, much like fans in watching Rivers so far through the first month of the season, that he is a better option than Brissett at that position. We'll see where it goes. You think they need to make a offensive move at some point? Are they going to be able to survive? I mean, depending upon when Michael Pittman Jr. gets back, I'm sorry, but even if you're counting on him to do some things, that's difficult. That's difficult to suggest he's going to come back and then all of a sudden be what you expected him to be after not playing and then recovering from an injury. And I'm sorry, I'm not banking on Paris Campbell returning. You're not going to get Marlon Mack back. But specific to the wide receiver position, do they need to address that significantly, or at least more significantly than Marcus Johnson?
I think they should look at it, but I just don't know who's out there. Whether free, I know Sanu is a free agent now.
Mohamed Sanu was mentioned yesterday. He's 31 years old. I don't know how much of a difference that is.
And the Patriots were trying to rely on him last year, and he was just terrible.
So I don't see that working. Hey, JMV, so let me get this straight. The Colts paid Jacoby $15 million last year, then turned around and paid $25 million to a 37-year-old quarterback, putting up the same numbers as the $15 million quarterback. Sounds ass backwards to me. You know what, Q317, this is right out of when your elite-level quarterback quits on you 2 weeks before the start of the season. It is whatever works for you. Seriously, it is. And it's an owner that says, hey, I don't care. Just put a winning product. Just get this team, get this organization back to the postseason. I was going to say stop looking boring, but sometimes they still have looked boring. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, that's just there's no way in the world they counted on any of this. They didn't count on a year ago having to address the media by suggesting they think that their backup quarterback, once their guy quit, is a top 20 quarterback in the NFL. Or even prior to that, I think Andrew Luck was still a part of the team when they mentioned that a year ago. No, that is etched in stone. That's what happens when your guy bails on you when he did. I've always said this too, and this comes from Peyton Manning. If you are in it in March, you're damn sure in it in August, and then into September. You're there that year. That's when you're that significant a piece at quarterback to your NFL team. When you're in it in March, you're in it. But that's just what happens. It's what happens when your guy quits on you. All right, quick break, and we'll come back. Anthony Walker is going to join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. This defense has been really good. I'm going to ask him some not-so-subtle changes he has seen across the board defensively as to why they're playing at such a high level. Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts, coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Kevin Bowen, 1075thefan.com. I'll dive into the Pacers coaching search coming up a little bit later on, too, with Kevin. That and obviously week number 5 of the NFL, which has the Colts on the road at the Browns on Sunday. Kevin Bowen in the 5 o'clock hour, race of the day, 5:45. Your calls at 239-1070. Next.
Bet on the game while you watch it. Live streaming of matches with loads of in-game betting options. Download BetRivers Sportsbook or go to betrivers.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Indiana needs poll workers for the upcoming general election. And you can apply for this paid position in 3 simple steps. First, call your county clerk or your party's headquarters and sign up. Second, attend your scheduled poll worker training. Third, show up at your assigned polling location on Election Day. You'll be paid for your time, and Hoosiers as young as 18 or even 16 in some counties can apply. To learn more, go to indianavoters.com. Paid for by the Indiana Secretary of State and Indiana Election Division.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
The annual Miss Twin Peaks is back. Watch on Twin Peaks Facebook and Instagram to cast your vote. Enjoy new cocktails and specials on Bud Light Seltzer, Don Julio Blackberry Margarita and Red Bull, and Tito's Handmade Vodka. Twin Peaks, 82nd Street and I-69.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any. We buy any car. Any make, any model, any age, any price from $50 to $100,000. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any. We buy any car. Sell your car the easy way. Go online and sell it today. We buy any car. Any. Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
This corona culture we're living in is just another example of how life can throw some unexpected challenges at you. This is Dan Dockich. When you're faced with difficult times, it's always comforting to have a professional on your side who actually cares about you as a person. If you or someone you know experienced an accident as a driver, passenger, rider, or pedestrian, keep in mind what my guy, Randy Sevenish and Sevenish Law recommends during these challenging financial times. Do not try to negotiate with the insurance company yourself, thinking you are saving money, and be wary of discount lawyers. A quick payday may not be best for you. Do not leave money on the table. It's your money. Even though some courts are closed right now, Randy is still here for you. He's able to meet with you and still take the next negotiation steps for resolution. Do not hesitate to take on the insurance giants during these tough times. Call Sevenish Law, the fierce protectors of the injured, where you're treated like a person, not just a case number. 317-636-7777 and SevenishLaw.com. UnibetSportsbook.com.
At Unibet Sportsbook, we know that within every bettor, there's a bet so genius, no other person on this planet could have thought of it. It's called a parlay, a custom-made bet that says, today, my confidence level is on the money. Sign up today to get a limited-time offer of a $600 risk-free bet and get $30 free to bet with. No deposit required. Download the app or visit in.unibet.com. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in Indiana. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. No one can predict what's going to happen, but almost all economists agree that you need to be locked in to your refinance before the election. Right now, the Federal Reserve is taking action, reducing interest rates down into the 2s. We can get you closed in as little as 30 days, and you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. Start saving now. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
We've changed our model a little bit.
He's back.
I got to tell the story.
Michael Grady returns to The Fan.
I have to do something.
Once a week on The Fan Morning Show, Tuesdays at 9.
That's exactly what the majority of you wanted to see.
Listen for Michael Grady on The Dan Dockett Show, Wednesdays at 1.
That was a playoff type atmosphere.
Then JMV and Grady hook up Thursday afternoons at 4. Michael Grady is back. Brought to you by Bet River. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man. It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, quick one. Anthony Walker Jr. is going to go at 4 instead of 3:30. He's got to get some treatment. I think I need some treatment, too. 4 o'clock for Anthony Walker Jr. Matt Taylor, 4:30. Kevin Bowen, 5 o'clock. We got you covered tomorrow. Harris Hoosier Park at Anderson, our Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots with Brent Halverson coming up tomorrow. And if you guys want to join us up there, you can. Daniel Bragg writes this: Colts could try out Taylor Gabriel, another little guy, but has looked good in the past. Yeah, and that's why we kind of brought up the fact that there doesn't seem like there's a great deal out there. Now, I'm Mr. Freak Out over wide receivers here. But it seems like at some point you're going to have, or you should have, a little bit more than what you got right now. This just, I mean, now if you take another injury, good luck. And I know we got to factor in, well, what about T.Y. Hilton? Yeah, he's got to raise his game. He's got to be somewhere in the neighborhood of what you think T.Y. Hilton to be, because he's not been anywhere near so far. Got to be. Again, I mean, you can stumble through it if you want against the Bears on the road and kick field goals and still win. But other teams, I mean, maybe this team coming up on Sunday will get you if you do that in the red zone. Or as Rick Venturi says, in the orange zone, if you do that. Hey, JMV at 1070thefan.com. I can't understand all the Phillip Rivers slander at this point of the season. He hasn't been perfect, but he's made some amazing big-time throws, especially on third down. He's been solid, as you can ask for. I have suggested he's been exactly what I thought he was going to be. Certainly there's an issue in the red zone, and maybe that's the missing of weapons. You look at the past, and as the field shrinks, it seems like that the efficiency of Rivers may go down. There's some things you're going to have to rethink about that, because it cannot continue to go down that path of inefficiency in the red zone. It just can't. Willie writes this: JMV, I like where the defense is going. However, I'm very concerned with the red zone touchdown scoring percentage. With below average offenses, field goals will allow you to stay in the game. But against Cleveland, Baltimore, Green Bay, Tennessee, who will choke the clock, and the Steelers, who are in trouble without significant weapons on the outside, you're preaching to the choir on that one, my brother. Preaching to the choir. Tyler Fox says, I'd take Sanu all day. Dude was highly productive in Atlanta. Didn't get enough targets in New England. Could they could get him on the cheap, there's no doubt. See, here's what happened. Sanu, he was released, or let go by San Francisco because I think they're getting some of their injured players back. Who are they down? Deebo Samuels is playing. Was he injured or was
he hasn't played yet? He had a foot injury. He hasn't played yet. He's coming off IR.
I thought he was playing already. Oh, somebody else. You might be right. They were getting dudes back, so that's where they decided to go. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, certainly, I say more of a threat. You say threat. And I kind of look at it maybe as the same thing. I mean, somebody that you can trust, somebody that your quarterback can trust. I don't know if we'd be talking about this. T.Y. were playing and putting up T.Y. type of numbers. Would we still be bringing this up right now? Would I?
No, I don't think so.
This is so concerning. I mean, beyond the injuries, and this the fact that T.Y. Hilton hasn't put up those numbers yet. Go ahead.
Does it seem to you like he's just not getting as many targets as you would expect from a number one wide receiver? It seems like Pascal has gotten far fewer balls thrown his way than T.Y. has.
I tell you, when Rivers threw it about 9 miles over his head, that was very reminiscent of Jacoby Brissett a couple of times last year, throwing it 9 miles over his head. The other thing, there were some moments, and there obviously were some two drops that were crucial against Jacksonville, but there were a couple of times on out routes when T.Y., it seemed like he was just waiting on it. And it seemed like all of a sudden that ball's going in slow motion, I guess because it is literally going in slow motion.
And there was a couple balls last week that I think Rivers said after the game that were targeted for T.Y. that he just didn't throw a good ball. There was that one T.Y. was wide open in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And then that sort of comeback route on 3rd and long that he just sort of threw in the dirt.
I just remember a couple of different times. I think it was in the Jacksonville game especially. You could see like T.Y. on an out route near the sideline just kind of hey, hurry up, get it here. Things just kind of floating through the air. I mean, maybe it's nothing more than just that yet. I was getting used to that. Not having somebody, throw some kind of Gatling gun ball at you that's going to tear through your chest. But just kind of waiting on it. I don't know. Searching right now. He's just got to be better regardless. It doesn't matter if they throw it sideways to you. I mean, you're a wide receiver. You're at that level. You got to catch the damn thing. And frankly, for him, you just got to put up some numbers. Hey, YouTube Live, we're inside the lounge. If you guys want to drop in there, that's fantastic. Jacob Houston says, JMV, let's get your boy Dontrell Inman back from Washington. Dontrell Inman or Mohamed Sanu. I'm telling you, when you look at these guys that are available or you think that are available, there is not a great deal for you right now. Some are asking about Desmond Patman. I think you need somebody that's going to be a little bit more or have a little bit more of an effect on a game than he might right now. JMV, why the Colts bother drafting a big, fast wide receiver in Desmond Patman late in the draft that they're reluctant to even let him see the field when they're desperate? I don't know if they feel they're desperate yet. I think they're just looking for guys that have been out there. I mean, you could say what you want about Marcus Johnson, but he has experience being out there. Patman doesn't. I don't think that they're ready to go that route until they absolutely have to just yet. But I get what you're saying. Checkpoint Chickies at 239-1070. Checkpointer, what's happening?
Hey, JMV, you're a smart guy.
I am very smart.
Yes, you tell me why Hines isn't out there in the slot next to T.Y. Hilton running down the field. Those two are speedsters, weapons, and, it just doesn't seem – I mean, I wonder if there's an issue with Hines practicing because you got Jonathan Taylor and Jordan Wilkins handling the load, carrying the load, running the ball. Why not put Hines? He's a weapon. Put him out there in the slot.
I would think, and I think checkpoint. I think that if you want to lob some blame at Frank Reich and maybe Nick Sirianni here, you can, because you got to find a better way to utilize him. I mean, even if we're not on target with what you're saying or with what I'm saying, I mean, he is a talented dude. He's shifty, quick. How can you not find a legitimate use for him yet? And they clearly haven't.
You know he's a weapon because they got him returning punts, and look what he did. You know, we were hurt for receivers last year, and then we bring in this Williams as a running back when Marlon was hurt. But I just don't understand the usage because I think you got a weapon there. And, my God, you line him up next in the slot. You know, you don't have to split him out wide, but put him in the slot, and I think he'd be a nightmare matchup problem for the defense.
Some people have told me, and I kind of buy this checkpoint, some people have told me that there's not a great deal of originality and flair going on in the play calling. And maybe that's leading as to why we see Nyheim Hines. I mean, for me, Nyheim Hines runs like straight up the middle on a handoff more than he does, you know, getting kind of loose in the flat or, you know, out of the backfield catching the football. And I don't understand that at all because, I mean, a stiff breeze is going to tackle him. I don't understand that at all.
I'll say this real quick. The red zone play calling against the Bears was just god-awful. I mean, we ran the ball up the gut, lost 2 yards when we were down there in the red zone. So we got to get more creative because the offense has been very vanilla. And I do worry about Phillip Rivers' overcooked spaghetti arm getting it downfield too. So anyway, I'll hang up and listen.
Checkpoint, thank you very much. I know the conversation kind of sounds like this team is 1-3 and not 3-1. I don't mean it to sound that way, but there is some concern regarding the offense. JMV, I think fans have to remember that certain players like Patman haven't seen the field yet and aren't an option now because they haven't progressed enough to earn that playing time or trust. There's no question about it. I mean, that's why you bring in Marcus Johnson from the practice squad and then immediately activate him, because he's been there, done that, and you have trust there. Anybody else? Can you put up your hand and wonder how Nyheim Hines is being handled? I mean, if you're looking at offensive question marks right there, I mean, beyond injuries, beyond, you know, T.Y. Hilton not showing up yet this season, anybody else wonder about just how Nyheim Hines is being used? I mean, he was a focal point in week number 1 and then an afterthought at best in week number 2. And, like, it's been weird. Is it the play calling? Lack of originality and flair? It's kind of boring, vanilla play calling. That it? Can't find a use for him? Just better options and, you know, what you're doing right now, just running the football, I guess. It's just really odd. I'd put up my hand. I'd love to know. Because it does seem like that you have another weapon. And you can tell that Nyheim Hines wants some opportunities because, listen, he's going to return a punt back no matter what. He's like jumping out of his skin to try to get that thing down the field. I'll have to ask Kevin Bowen about that coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. Especially now with injuries. Seems like this is a guy that you could really have a little bit more of a focus on. 3 did not participate in practice today due to injury. Linebacker Bobby Okereke. Linebacker Darius Leonard. That's a thumb and a groin. And left tackle Anthony Costanzo with ribs. That would suck right there. That is, I'm going to circle that one. And no disrespect to Leonard or Okereke in this, but circle the left tackle ribs situation here.
Especially when you have to go up against Myles Garrett.
That would really suck. And then here's Sam making me get my picks in on damn Wednesday. Wait a minute. Give me a puncher's chance here, everybody. Hey, JMV, it makes no sense that Hines would get more playing time with Mack in the lineup, and then Mack goes down and Hines gets – that is so true. He's been, to me, besides just wondering whether or not T.Y. Hilton's going to be the same or close to the same T.Y. Hilton, that's been the biggest mystery regarding this offense is why can't you find a significant place for him? I mean, the genius, the wizardry of Frank and Sirianni. I mean, you got this piece. Use it. Weird. Quick one, we'll come back. Anthony Walker Jr., Colts linebacker, top of the hour. Matt Taylor, the voice of the Colts and big-time Van Halen fan. He and I think in 2012 is when it was. They were out on their tattoo tour. We get down to Bankers Life Fieldhouse and watch Van Halen. Kool and the Gang opened up. It was awesome. And we'll talk to Matt about the passing of Eddie Van Halen. Just a lot of dudes that love music, love rock music. He was their hero. And we did substantial conversation about him yesterday. I'm going to do a JMV takeover. Here's what I thought. You guys with me on this? I'm going to lead on Saturday night at 6 with Eruption going into You Really Got Me. What do you think? I mean, that's how you handle it. I heard the local rock stations, I think, were dropping in some songs an hour and stuff last night. Voice tracked. I think somebody did that from home, but they're doing it, so what the hell? Now, we won't voice track it. I'm going to roll this out at 6 o'clock on Saturday night, and we're going to start with Eruption. And we're going to honor one of the best to ever do it. I don't even want to say Mount Rushmore. If there's a Mount Rushmore of guys doing that, he is on it, but the Mount Rushmore stuff sucks. He is certainly in that category, no question. Matt will talk about that. Kevin Bowen in the 5 o'clock hour. Race of the day coming up at 5:45. I can ask this question. You ever get behind a dump truck and it says, stay back 200 feet, not responsible for broken windows? Why are they not responsible for broken windows?
Maybe that's just a sign that in case something does happen, you think twice about going after him to get it replaced. I don't know. Maybe it does.
Why, if they have tarps, those tarps that they have on the top, and they get a load back there, why don't they cover them up with the tarps? Anybody?
I think they're supposed to.
Are they?
Why, did you catch a rock from a dump truck?
I caught a southbound rock going northbound on Bloom. I don't know if it was a rock. I don't know what the hell it was. It felt like a Volkswagen. It hit me so damn hard. So it was going southbound on 69. It was in Bloomington, just a little bit south of 3rd Street on the west side there. I mean, I got hammered in the windshield of my rental, thank you very much. And I just often kind of wondered, I'm assuming he probably has that, not responsible for broken windows on the back. Why aren't you? It came out of your damn ride. Wasn't an act of God or anything like that. It wasn't lightning. Wasn't wind. I guess it was wind, but it was blowing around in the back of your ride. Somebody has to tell me that. Brian Neer's going, there goes your damn deductible again. I suck. I'm telling you what, I am like a jinx right now. I seriously am. Don't get close to me. I work really well right now in this era in which we're in of social distancing because you don't want to get anywhere near me. Keep a wide berth from me. Yeah, Mark Hughes says it makes you think if you put if I crash into you, I'm not responsible for it sticker on your car. Quick one, back with the next.
We've changed our model a little bit.
He's back.
I got to tell the story.
Michael Grady returns to The Fan.
I have to do something.
Once a week on The Fan Morning Show, Tuesdays at 9.
That's exactly what the majority of you wanted to see.
Listen for Michael Grady on The Dan Dockett Show, Wednesdays at 1.
That was a playoff-type atmosphere.
Then JMV and Grady hook up Thursday afternoons at 4. Michael Grady is back. Brought to you by Bet River. 93.5 at 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, JMV here for the greatness that is Connecticut water. Hey, I'm looking right at you, YouTube livers, right now. You guys inside the lounge have Connecticut water? If you don't have Connecticut, then you don't have the best. And how do I know? Is because I had the absolute worst water. I could have probably, prior to Connecticut, gone out to the ditch and got better water than I had in my house. Seriously, it was no good at all. And then I bring in Joe, John, and Dennis to save the day with Connecticut. So if you don't have Connecticut, think about this for a moment. Your older softener in your home, how's it working? Is it doing stuff effectively for you right now? Connecticut will do a complete inspection of your existing water softener in the month of October, regardless of brand name, for only $1. That's $1. Connecticut will test your water, find out whether your aging softener is still giving you all that soft, clean water you need, you deserve, and they'll do it for $1. That's a $1 inspection. Get that scheduled today. Connecticut, northeast side Castleton, south side US 31 and Southport Road. The Connecticut Water app. Download that to your smartphone or device today. It is great for discounts and deals and winning stuff. For more info online, ConnecticutIndy.com today.
When the Colts are on the road, BetMGM and The Fan want to crash your bash. Visit 1075thefan.com and sign up on the contest page for your chance to have your bash crash.
When you've got a strong will, you do it your own way. When you're not willing to compromise, second best never crosses your mind. So when you're looking for a dependable used work truck, you'll know you'll find exactly what you're looking for at Indy Trucks. Cargo vans, box trucks, utility, you name it. Indy Trucks has it at 96th and Keystone or the new location off I-65 at the Edinburgh exit or IndyTrucks.com. When you want it your way, you'll get it your way at Indy Trucks.
Heaven Hill Distillery bringing you our Larceny Bourbon Locks, our Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Hey, we're going to be live. Anderson coming up tomorrow. Here is Hoosier Park and Anderson. Play along with us. Week 5 of the NFL, and we have your picks coming up tomorrow. Thank you, Brent Halverson. He's going to be there with me, and that's the Larceny Bourbon Locks, the Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Tomorrow from Anderson on 107.5, 93.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, 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 Royal Pin.
Bowling's back. Same great game, new rules. And Royal Pin Entertainment wants to help you put the fa-la-la back into your corporate Christmas event. Royal Pin Entertainment offers the perfect combination of food and fun. At Royal Pin, you don't have to be a super athlete to have a blast, and everyone's on the team when you're bowling. It's time to get jolly, and Royal Pin has all the trimmings your company needs to make this year's Christmas event the best ever. It's always comfy in their modern entertainment centers, and bowling's guaranteed to create team spirit and glad tidings. Let Royal Pin organize your company's Christmas event. For more information, download the Open Lane app, call 465-8484, or look them up at royalpin.com.
Royal Pin, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin, bowling.
Hey, John here for Forum Credit Union. Shout out to Kevin and the gang at Forum. My daughter, Lainey, and I, every month, will give you the opportunity to get your child a $100 starter in what they call at Forum Credit Union, the Sprout account. Get your kids ready for college financially and do it with the Sprout account from Forum Credit Union. You can sign up today, forumcu.com, and Lainey and I, at the end of every month, will draw a new winner for $100 in a Sprout account starter. Another great way that Forum Credit Union, Kevin and the gang are looking out for you. For info and your way to sign up your child today, that's forumcu.com.
Performance Academy at Golf Club of Indiana's 6,000 square foot indoor-outdoor golf facility is geared toward lessons, club fitting, practice of the full swing, and putting. Each hitting bay offers flight scope technology to track each shot and provide feedback. With 8 large-screen TVs, full beverage service, free Wi-Fi, and a conference room, they can provide opportunities for social and corporate functions. The Golf Performance Academy, the only facility of its kind in the state, even in the country. Call 769-3482 for more.
Make your legal sports bets today at Bet Rivers Sportsbook, presented by French Lick Casino. I'm Mike Wells here to tell you that whether you like to bet on basketball, hockey, soccer, baseball, tennis, or even auto racing, BetRivers Sportsbook has a huge number of betting options, fast payouts, and reliable customer service. Whether you're at the retail location in French Lake or online anywhere in Indiana, BetRivers delivers. Go to BetRivers.com to start making your legal sports bets today. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
Hey, join me tomorrow. Mike Wells is going to join, and we're going to talk about the Colts. We're also going to talk to Darius Butler. I love our time with both of those guys, and possibly some baseball talk as well.
The Ride with JMV.
And you could tell Rolling Stone magazine that my last words were, I'm on drugs.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Anthony Walker Jr., top of the hour. Matt Taylor, 4:30. Kevin Bowen, 5 o'clock. JMV, those guys are still responsible whether they say they are or not. See, I was going to have to, flip around at the exit on 3rd Street and then come back down and try to track somebody down. It felt like I wrecked. I got hit hard. No idea what the hell it was either. But I know that it smacked the windshield good. I know it's going to smack my deductible good. Jeff writes this. Hey, JMV, I don't know what a player can do unless you give them a shot. Not using Nyheim Hines, not very good at all for the Colts. I just would like to understand. We'll converse with Kevin Bowen coming up at 5 o'clock about that. It just doesn't seem right. Maybe I'm making too much out of the dude. Am I making too much out of the dude? Could he not help you more than he has so far? If occasionally you look in his direction, and not handing him the ball off to go into the teeth of the run defense, which to me makes little to no sense. Anybody? It just seems like that there is a genius and better way somewhere to get that done. And with this team offensively, it seems like it's necessary. We got afternoon baseball going on. Bottom of 1, Athletics and Astros. Houston's trying to close that out. Tied at 1. Top of the 6th inning, Braves 2, Marlins nothing. Rays and Yankees, Padres and Dodgers coming at you later on tonight. Anthony Walker Jr. coming up. Colts linebacker, top of the hour, 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Head to Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge, with brews served at 29 degrees and ice-cold mugs and high-def screens everywhere. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
It's a new season with a new QB, and Bud Light Blue Fridays are back, baby. JMV will be live with a cold Bud Light and Colts football to talk about. Join him this Friday at 3 at Gigi's 71st and Graham Road. Show your pride for Colts football, Bud Light, and your local bars. And you could win a Colts custom jersey, Pro Shop gift cards, and more. Bud Light Blue Fridays. JMV will see you this Friday afternoon at Gigi's 71st and Graham Road. Bud Light, brewed for Colts fans.
The Sundown Gardens Fall Sale is here. Save on all trees and shrubs, including bald and burlapped evergreens. During Sundown Gardens Fall Sale, save 20% on all trees and shrubs. Save now and plant during the milder weather. Come spring, they'll be ready to grow when the sun hits them. See their selection of maples, oaks, and new favorites, Ruby Falls Redbud, and Wildfire Blackgum trees. At Sundown Gardens Fall Sale, save 30% on all pottery and indoor fall decor, too. Sundown Gardens, 186 and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
There are times in life when certain situations are unavoidable. As life passes, we get a little slower and a little more achy than the year before. All part of life. But when we lose the ability for intimacy with the one we love, it can feel much worse. Unfortunately, the lady we love typically feels like this situation is just because of her. As men, we know that's just not true. We want that spark back just as much as she does. The Indianapolis Men's Clinic physicians hear this from struggling couples every day. Fortunately, that struggle in your relationship from erectile dysfunction can be gone. One simple visit to the Indianapolis Men's Clinic with a same-day solution. The joy of your relationship will be back. And the best part of it is seeing that spark back in a happy relationship. Call 999-9000. It's simple, safe, and private. 999-9000. Clinic visit, evaluation, and testing is just $99. IndyMen'sClinic.com for more information. 999-9000.
Hey, JMV here. I got to tell you all about my new favorite NFL bet this season. You ready? Playing some same-game parlays on FanDuel Sportsbook. Anybody else? Let me see a show of hands here. Most fun you're going to have at betting, too. They're simple. All you have to do is combine multiple bets from one game into a single parlay. This way, the payouts are even bigger when you win. So it's cool. FanDuel will refund the first same-game parlay you lose on any NFL game each week up to $10. That means, well, you can bet a different parlay risk-free every NFL week all season long. For example, you do the Colts and the Browns. You can do one with pass attempts from Rivers, completions to Beckham, to total yards from Kareem Hunt. Oh, it's that easy. Or just do the spread with the two teams, win or lose anyway. It's that easy. And FanDuel offers this to you right now. So if you don't already have FanDuel Sportsbook, get that same game parlay. Just use the promo code JMV. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code JMV. 21 plus, present in Indiana. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit. Expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Terms apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men is now open in Greenwood. Haircuts are just $14. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Greenwood on State Road 135, just north of Smith Valley Road.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. We can get you pre-approved and locked in the same day and have you closed in 30 days or less. Thehomeloanexpert.com.
This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis. Your home for Colts football.
Gonna walk the way downfield. It's Mo Alley Cox for the catch. Gain of 33 for Mo Alley Cox.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
What did you say? I said we need a water break. You need a water break. Water is for cowards. Water makes you weak. Water is for washing blood off that uniform, and you don't get no blood on my uniform. Boy, you must be outside your mind.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Matt Taylor, bottom of the hour. Kevin Bowen. Is that me again? What the heck is that? Like a wasp came in here on the microphone. Bowen, 5 o'clock hour race of the day, 5:45. Harris Hoosier Park and Anderson for me tomorrow. Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots from Anderson. We're going to be at Harris Hoosier Park beginning at 3 o'clock tomorrow. And GG's Northeast Side Bud Light Blue Fridays coming at you on Friday. Meantime, Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline, one of my favorite conversations. Great dude. Anthony Walker Jr. The Colts joins us. Great to have you back, Anthony. How are you?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. I want to start right here. Give me the difference, because the numbers absolutely are eye-popping that you guys are putting up defensively right now through the first 4 weeks. Give me a couple, if you will, big differences between what we have seen and what you've been a part of in the first 4 games this year compared to the past couple of years, for example.
Well, obviously, it's only been 4 games. Let me start off by saying that. So, we don't want to get complacent or anything like that. We know we have to go out and prove it every week. And, obviously we've been playing well for the past couple of weeks, but we have to keep taking, positive steps. And it's going to start with taking another positive step this week, against a great offense. So, we're not, overly excited or concerned about, the numbers right now. We want to keep getting better and keep playing our best football as we keep going ahead. And, as we get later in the season, we want to continue to keep playing better football. So, obviously we're playing good right now, but we want to keep getting better. Obviously the difference, as you talked about, again, the defensive line, engineering the whole thing. You got D-Buck up front, Justin, Danico, Grove, all those guys playing well. And, it starts with them, those guys playing on one accord, getting to the quarterback and all that stuff, and then being able to stop the run. It takes all 11 of us. So, obviously playing cohesive football, and then playing complementary football. Our offense hasn't put us in bad positions or anything like that. And, again, when you're able to play complementary football, defense, special teams, and offense, it all works together, it just makes it better. So I think that's the main thing, all playing on the same accord right now these past 3 weeks, offense, defense, and special teams.
Anthony Walker Jr. of the Colts joins us. You're absolutely right. Grover Stewart has been really good so far this year, Anthony.
For sure. A guy that I came in with, so, definitely have a lot of, love for him as well. Again, just a big stout guy in the middle that can, do it all, rush the passer, and also stop the run. It's hard to move him in the middle. Definitely a huge part of our defense.
I'm curious about this, too. I mean, you saw him in San Francisco. I mean, he was a part of a fantastic defense. And then you hear a lot about him. You see him on TV. How was it like playing behind and with DeForest Buckner? How big of an effect does he have up front on the game?
Yeah, a huge effect. You can't get to the second level without blocking him first. And we've seen a couple times that they've tried to not block him. It's not a good result for the offense. So he commands a lot of attention, double teams or triple teams, whatever it takes, and frees up a lot of guys on the defensive line and also the linebackers. We're able to roam free and make plays, and he's able to win most of those double teams and still get in on those plays and get to the quarterback. So definitely, man, he's a great player to have for us. Excited. He's not even. You ask him if he's playing his best football, he'll tell you he has another gear to go into, and we believe that. So he's been playing great, but again, he's not even. He trusts me. He has another level that he's going to get into. As we keep playing.
It's Anthony Walker Jr. with us. You're playing incredibly well yourself. You got another gear? You got another level you can reach right now because you've been one of the impressive dudes on this defense so far. What's your next step or next level?
I'm just trying to, for us, for me, it's all about, my teammates and, getting us lined up in the right spot. And if we're all playing on the level, we're all playing the same call, the same way, and, everybody is expecting the same thing. It makes us better, and that's my job to do that. Obviously, for me, I think me taking the next step is obviously creating more turnovers for our defense. If I can get a couple punch outs or fumble recoveries or interceptions or anything like that, any big play to help our defense get the ball back to our offense. And whatever it is, I'm doing whatever I have to do, whatever I'm asked to do. And I think, we're all asked to take the football away, find a way to get some more turnovers. And that's my job. So, I think that's the next step for me.
Hey, Anthony, obviously, being in your position, you have to be a great communicator as the leader and making sure guys are in the right spot and, understand what you guys are doing from play to play. Have you always been a great communicator / leader in whatever you've done, especially the game of football from the ground up?
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah. Have you always been a great leader and communicator playing the game of
I think,
football?
when I was younger, obviously having a dad as a coach, everybody kind of, looked to me as, he kind of knows more, playing more football and stuff like that. So, I played quarterback growing up, being able to play both sides of the ball, at a very early age, kind of helped me. Obviously, my dad being an offensive guy, mine, kind of helped me as well as I was on the defensive side, understanding what offenses are trying to attack and coverages and all that stuff. So it's kind of always been helpful for me, having my dad as a coach and being around the game of football at an early age. And then, as I got to Northwestern and having conversations with my linebacker coaches, Randy Bates, Pat Fitzgerald, great linebacker back in his day, learning a lot from those guys. So I've been very fortunate to have, great mentors, great coaches and all that. And I never take that for granted. That's, kind of always been my strong point, my communication and my understanding of the game.
How good of a quarterback were you in high school?
I didn't play in high school. I was a backup in high school. I played mostly defense. Growing up, Little League, I played quarterback every year. And for me, it was more, I was the only one that knew the play.
Were you the fastest guy out there? The fastest kid out there? Is that what it was?
No, for me, I handed the ball off and I threw a tight end pop pass. I could remember the handoffs. I could remember who to give the ball to. And I was able to throw the simple passes, roll out, throw the little bootleg, all that stuff. So, for me, that was what it was. And then I also played defensive back. So, again, just able to play both sides of the ball. That just kind of always been my forte, I guess.
Yeah, it seems like that gives you a great appreciation and even more of an understanding on position by position that maybe some guys that may not have gone through, even at the NFL level to this point.
For sure, the cohesiveness and how it all works together. You talk about, position by position, but you talk about, me understanding how it is, from coach to trainer to player to, video guys, all that stuff, man. It all ties and works hand in hand. And, we talk about that all the time. It takes all of us in this building for us to be successful. It's from the players to everybody. Everybody in the building. We all have a job to do, and our job is to go out there and execute our job the best way possible. And again, it's my appreciation of everybody, all the little things that goes unnoticed. That's what I learned to appreciate, So, again, that's just me being around the game so much at an early age.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but explain to some folks, if you can, if you have, a memory about this past Sunday, give me a little thing that probably went unnoticed by us that was a big thing to you.
As far as
any situation maybe that would have gone unnoticed by fans or me or anybody else that you noticed and thought was a big deal according to you?
Well, I mean, the game always comes down to a couple of plays. We say that every Sunday. You never know what that play is going to be. I think you go back to that 3rd and 1. Again, we played the Chicago team that, they've made nothing but, great comebacks this whole season, being down against Atlanta last week, 26-10. And, they come back and win that game. We had that on our mind. So it's 16-3 going into the fourth quarter. We're like, all right, we have to get a stop right here. We have to find a way to get a stop. 3rd and 1, they run all the motions and stuff like that. And you look at our defensive line penetration, and we get to stop. We get to stop on 3rd and 1. Bobby makes a great play, and they end up punting the ball. But I really think that was a turning point of the game. I think they had confidence that they could, make a comeback on us, and that stop kind of took the life out of them, as too much to say. And you talk about the little things that goes unnoticed. Jacoby Brissett's energy on the sideline, Darius Leonard being injured, and his energy on the sideline, with no fans and everything like that. I think we had more intensity, more, we had more juice, I'd say, on our sideline the whole game than they did. And, that's a little detail that, a lot of people don't realize, but it matters. It matters, and the little details of that matters for us.
I'm glad you brought up Jacoby, too, because I actually mentioned that before you came on. I mean, you could see him on the sideline as fired up as he's ever been. That has to be awesome. It has to feel good, and certainly that's the sign of one hell of a teammate and a leader right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Always been that type of person. Since I've been here, since I've known him. A guy that just wants the team to do well. A guy that's, obviously a leader on and off the field, and a guy that wants to play, obviously, but he understands his role this year right now. And it could switch at any moment, but he understands right now that for us to be successful, he has to be a leader in another way, and he does a great job at that. And you can't do nothing but respect him for that.
All right, of any of the defenders on the team, do you hear the most from Matt Eberflus? Is that you? As far as just anything in general, what's going right, what's going wrong, calls, putting you in the rights. I mean, do you hear the most? Do you get an unfiltered Matt Eberflus more than anybody else?
Oh yeah, for sure. Obviously, I understand more so what he wants to get accomplished, as a defensive coordinator, and all that stuff. And I try to, have my mind on the same things that he has his mind on as far as making the calls and everything like that. So we kind of see the game, eye to eye, me and him. So I can feel or sense, his message and everything like that. So it's always fun to, get that feedback from him and all that. And again, his message never changes. Every week, every game, every day, creating turnovers, stopping the run, and we have to find a way to win every time. And no matter what it takes, it's all 11 of us on the field, accomplishing that one goal.
When's the last time you got a loaf?
Sunday. Yeah, I haven't. I've probably had, I've had good games, this year with the loaves, and game where I had one or two. I think I had 3 this Sunday just passed. So always trying to stay, at the 90%. If I play, however many plays you play, you want to have, stay in that 90%. So if I play 30 plays less than 3, 40 plays less than 4, whatever it is, you just want to be in that 90 percentile.
Do the new guys, and I'm assuming that there's maybe some sort of thing like loaves from team to team in the NFL, but did you have to explain that to new guys? Is there something that maybe they get here and they go, "What's this loaf stuff?" Hey, what they
think, "Oh yeah, man, I come from where we run to the ball," or that's easy. I know what that means, and they get here and it's like, yeah, you guys do it a little different. Yeah, we try to do it a little different. It's a different standard here. You think, I'm in man coverage, I don't have to run to the ball. No, you have to turn and go, and deep balls as a linebacker. And, again, we talked about that this week, actually. The D-line really have the hardest job, the D-line in the backside corner. They have to rush, the backside corners and man coverage, the ball's thrown on the other side of the field. Yeah, they were expected to run to the other side of the field. The D-line, they're rushing the passer. The ball gets thrown. There, you go from rushing the passer to have to get out of the the scrum and then get to the ball. It's hard. It's a hard job, and obviously it is. That's what it is, and we understand that. There's always going to be some questionable ones in there, but it holds us to a higher standard than most teams.
Are you allowed to defend a loaf?
Yeah, you can defend them, but the thing is, you defend it, then they'll try to find another one for you. So you it's a two-way go on that one.
It's Anthony Walker Jr. with us. We saw last weekend Dallas just get shredded by the run offense of the Cleveland Browns, over 300 yards on the ground. They lost Nick Chubb. He's not going to be playing against you guys, but Kareem Hunt's going to be there. Dearness Johnson is a backup that's been pretty good. What stands out to you about this Browns offense, especially what they've been doing on the ground?
Yeah, explosive offense, obviously. Huge challenge for us this week. We talk about, obviously, the big names, the high-powered, Nick Chubb, the Odell, Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield, all those guys, the tight ends, Hooper, get Njoku back, all those guys. Kareem Hunt, obviously, but again, they're a team that, again, like you said, just they can't play pound football. Obviously rushing for 300 yards last week. It's a huge challenge for us. They have a lot of runs in their game. Obviously that we have to be able to stop, and it's going to take all 11 of us, and we understand that, and we believe that all 11 of us versus the one runner. Again, we have to do our job, and we feel like we go out and execute. Everybody playing on the same page, we'll be fine.
I talked to Xavier on Monday, and I said, hey, you get a little extra geeked, a little extra amped up by playing a dude if you're going to get matched up, and I'm assuming he will at various points in the game against Odell Beckham Jr. He goes, nah, he kind of downplayed it. What do you think? You get extra juiced up against guys that basically are on the front page of everything like Odell Beckham Jr. on a daily basis during the NFL season?
Yeah, I guess you go, again, everybody in the NFL is good. They wouldn't be here if they weren't. Odell has earned the respect, of all of us, of his peers. You have to be aware of him, every time, he's on the field and all that stuff. But I don't think you do anything extra. You go out and do your job, and that we feel that, we go out there and execute our defense, we'll be fine.
So Anthony Walker Jr. via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You played really well so far. It's been fun to watch. We're going to downplay the numbers. That's okay. But, I mean, at some point you just got to look. You can only play the teams that you're playing right now. And I will say this, being around here as long as I have, and certainly knowing a lot of fans that have been around here that long, it feels like that there's more of a swarming defensive mentality and certainly ball hawking, ball playmaking mentality this year than we have seen. Is that true at all?
We hope so. We hope to get to that point where, everybody's on, clicking and flying around. And again, it's only been a couple games. We don't want to, ride the wave of that. We want to continue to get better as a defense, continue to get better overall. And, we want to be playing our best football as we keep going. So, hopefully we all, keep tapping into it and, keep hitting our stride as we keep going. We already know it's a marathon. This whole, it's a long season, and we're going to keep it going, week by week, and we have to prove it each week that we're a top defense, and we're looking forward to the challenge this week.
Continued great health, and keep doing what you're doing, Anthony. You're always a fantastic conversation. I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Always.
You got it. Anthony Walker Jr. is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. He is absolutely one of the best conversations there. Absolutely. That was good. Just anybody else? I mean, he was taking the right tack to say, hey, it's early. I mean, this could all be next month. Maybe we're talking about something completely different. But it has seemed like that when he was explaining, the low for guys who are just new here. Yeah, you're on the other side of the field, but you got to run to the other side of the field if the play's still going. That's the expectation. Doesn't it seem like that they do swarm to the football more than we have seen? Anybody else notice that? That's the way that it seems to me. Now, I mean, it's obvious, guys like Xavier Rhodes, he's going to go after the ball. And he's gotten to the ball more than he's not gotten to the ball so far this year. But, I mean, you're going to have to take sometimes he's not going to get there. I mean, you can notice that there's more playmaking ability in that secondary, more takeaway ability, it seems, overall. But the swarming to the football seems to be something that we hadn't seen at this level in a while. Anybody else? Sounds like a Connecticut Water question of the day right there. So true. Hey, JMV, I heard your windshield was broken. I'm an owner of an Auto Glass Pros. Auto Glass Pros. Not only, this is true, Seth, not only do I have a broken windshield on the rental car here, I have a broken windshield on the Tundra. My life is a stinking broken windshield right now. Seriously. I'm telling you, keep a wide berth because, I mean, if you see me out, just yell at me across the street or something. I'm literally like the episode of Andy Griffith, The Jinx. Remember the dude with a really bad mustache? He goes out and he fishes with Barney and Andy, and they're trying to prove that he's not a jinx, and the boat sinks. That's kind of what I feel like right now. And it's completely different than just being a schlep rock in general. I mean, it's, schlep rock is me. I've been a Reds fan, schlep rock. Oh, woe was me. But the jinxing of things right now, not seriously, I may need some sort of exorcism. I don't know. I need something. And listen, I'm bending over and I'm picking up pennies and rubbing them all the day. I'm supposed to have good luck, and I haven't had a damn ounce of good luck. Come on, good luck. I want to bend over and grab that thing. I turn around if black cats cross my path. I'm not walking under ladders. I don't step on cracks in the sidewalk. I'm pretty dedicated to this craft. Auto Glass Pros. Shout out to Seth saying, thank you, Seth. I'll bring the ride over there. I'll bring it over there. I really appreciate that. Here's what's funny, too. You get a little tiny crack, and then it was like the coldest day we've had in the fall the next morning, and the crack just expands. It's kind of like if you got low-riding jeans on and you bend over and, you're a butt crack, and you bend, it's one thing, you get the butt crack showing, but then when you bend over, it just expands. That's exactly what happens with a windshield. My windshield bent over. Terrible. Hey, JMV, I noticed several weeks in red zone that even other times that we're using a lot of tight formations. I think this is causing problems with the run game. Thus, the red zone performance is down. Plus, that is limiting our strength of offensive line, pulling guards, block run outside. Seems like we're more worried about protecting Rivers instead of attacking the defense. That is from Chris in Columbus, Indiana. I just kind of want to know. I'm going to ask Kevin Bowen this coming up at 5. What have they not found a proper use? Am I making too much out of Nyheim Hines? Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm making too much out of Nyheim Hines. It just seems like that he offers a great deal that has gone to this point untapped. Yes or no? It does not feel like that they have utilized him Or maybe they haven't found a use for him. Or, like you said after week number 2, well, it was all a part of the game plan. Well, great. Now you're down, 3 critical offensive weapons. It's time to start finding a spot for him. Or am I making too much out of it? All right, quick break and we'll come back. The voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor, is also a huge Van Halen fan. We'll discuss the legendary, late, great Eddie Van Halen with Matt and the Colts and the Browns coming up at the bottom of the hour. Kevin Bowen's coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. Tomorrow, Harris, Hoosier Park, and Anderson. Yeah, so those dump trucks just have not responsible for broken windshields on there just for the sake of doing it. So if I slap a bumper sticker that says I'm not responsible for wrecks I cause, I'm good.
It's probably just to deter people like you who if you didn't ask that, you probably just assumed, don't even want to waste my time.
What if I need a bumper sticker that says, right now, I'm the most unlucky man, I'm the unluckiest man in the world. You think that would give me a wide berth wherever I go?
It's like those semis that tell you,
rap.
Get back.
Like some rap. I'll wrap my vehicle in the most unluckiest man in the world is driving. That's going to create a wide berth. I mean, I'm a magnet. This thing, seriously, flew over like 3 lanes. It came in the median. This thing was going southbound. Right in front of the Andy Moore down in Bloomington down there, right? You know where the Menards is? I'm going northbound 69 on Saturday afternoon, humping it back up here to do a little B1057 hashtag JMV takeover. And something flew out of the back of it and just cracked me. Laney was in the back seat, and Laney said it looked like a boomerang. Somebody threw a boomerang at me. What the hell? Like a boomerang. All right, quick one. We'll come back. You and the voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor, coming up next.
Hey, it's JMV here for the greatness that is Connecticut water. Maybe you have an older water softener at home and you just aren't sure it's working as effectively as it should. Now through the end of October, Connecticut will do a complete inspection of your existing water softener, regardless of the brand, for only $1. That's $1. Connecticut will test your water and find out whether your aging softener is still giving you the soft, clean water you need. Contact Connecticut today and tell them you want your $1 inspection scheduled. That's ConnecticutIndy.com for details.
Hi, I'm Rick Edelman. Who's going to win the presidential election, and how should you change your investment strategy as a result? Half of those polled say they're going to alter their investments before November. Should you too? Let me give you the answer. Join me for a special election investment strategy webinar on Tuesday, October 13th at 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern. I'll show you what the election means for your investments and my 3-step investment strategy that you need right now. The webinar's free. Just register at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com. At Edelman Financial Engines, we've been helping folks just like you get through every crisis and every election since 1986, and we can help you through this crisis and this election too. You'll be surprised at what I have to tell you in this webinar, so join me October 13th at 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern and learn what you need to be doing now in handling your investments this election year. Register now at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com.
Hey, John here for FanDuel. I got to tell you about my new favorite NFL bet this season. You guys ready? Playing same-game parlays, FanDuel Sportsbook. Most fun that I've had betting. It's pretty simple here, too. All you got to do is combine multiple bets from one game into a single parlay. That way, the payouts are even bigger when you win. So, the cool part about it with FanDuel, they're going to refund you the first same-game parlay you lose on any NFL game each week up to $10, right? That means you can bet a different parlay, risk-free, every NFL week, all season long. I can give you an example. This weekend, you got the Bengals and the Ravens, right? So, pass attempts from the rookie Joe Burrow, pass attempts versus running attempts from Lamar Jackson. Put all those together, and you got something right there. And it is fun. It's called Same Game Parlay. So if you already have FanDuel, If you already signed up, you have an account, use my promo code JMV. Do it. Use my promo code JMV. If you haven't, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and use that promo code JMV. It's essential. 21 plus and present in Indiana. Refund issued and non-withdrawable site credit. It expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Terms apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
When you've got a strong will, you do it your own way. When you're not willing to compromise, second best never crosses your mind. So when you're looking for a dependable used work truck, you'll know you'll find exactly what you're looking for at Indy Trucks. Cargo vans, box trucks, utility, you name it. Indy Trucks has it at 96th and Keystone or the new location off I-65 at the Edinburgh exit or IndyTrucks.com. When you want it your way, you'll get it your way at Indy Trucks.
Indiana needs poll workers for the upcoming general election, and you can apply for this paid position in 3 simple steps. First, call your county clerk or your party's headquarters and sign up. Second, attend your scheduled poll worker training. Third, show up at your assigned polling location on Election Day. You'll be paid for your time, and Hoosiers as young as 18 or even 16 in some counties can apply. To learn more, go to indianavoters.com. Paid for by the Indiana Secretary of State and Indiana Election Division.
Hey, it's JMV here for CarX. You know I trust my car to Joe Childers and all the great mechanics at CarX, and you should too. Brakes, tires, whatever you need. The best thing about CarX is they care about their customers and understand that keeping, maintaining, and repairing your car isn't necessarily the way you'd want to spend your money right now. CarX Tire and Auto has several financing options so you can get the repairs you need to keep you road ready. Good or bad credit, doesn't matter. Don't worry. Call the CarX Man Survey, Indianapolis communities for 40-plus years.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is rewarding sports bettors even more. You can now get free bets in the Bet Rivers bonus store. With every bet you make, Bet Rivers gives you bonus points, and now you can redeem those bonus points for free bets. You earned it, and I'm Mike Wells here to tell you, go use it. And the more bets you make, the more bonus points you build up. These are rewards you can use. Check it out at betrivers.com today. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Save up to $150 off sets of Big O brand tires now through October 11th. Only at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Hubler Auto Group has 8 brands to choose from and thousands of vehicles in stock. Plus, all new vehicles come with a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty included. Visit drivehubler.com.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Michael Grady. What's up with Victor Oladipo?
If a guy truly doesn't want to be here, then bye, Felicia. There is beef that's anywhere similar to what Paul George said that he experienced. I think from a fan standpoint, you would like some of those answers, no matter how ugly the answer to the question is.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings, 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Smokey, this is not Nam. This is bowling. There are rules.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, keep this cranked up just for a second because I think this is, on Van Halen 1, this is one of the greatest transitions from song to song. You got the guitar solo, the greatest of all time, Eruption, from the late, great Eddie Van Halen. This is track number 2. And it goes right into 3, 2, 1, hit it. You really got me. That's a great transition. Track to track, there may not be much better than that. Inside the lounge, you guys talk it up. Are the Colts utilizing Nyheim Hines to the best of his production ability right now? Have that conversation. I'll jump back at you in a second. Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline. Yesterday was a tough day. I mean, that was legendary, one of the greatest of all time, somebody that I grew up with, absolutely loved, and I know you loved Eddie Van Halen and that band too. Yesterday sucked.
Yeah, it was disappointing to get that news. And what was he, 65?
65,
right? And,
yeah.
I knew he was sick. I knew he was dealing with cancer. I guess I just kind of lost track and didn't realize that it was, the severity in which it was. I didn't realize he was headed towards that, early fate there. But, that one hits hard because, Van Halen's probably in my top 3. And, it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, if, you could be You could be in the hallways or the aisles of a grocery store. You could be in your car. You could be out doing yard work. Man, if a Van Halen song comes on, John, like I'm stopped. I'm just going to listen to that song. I'm going to jam out. So
right.
Really, really, really disappointing because it's just another legend that we're not going to get back anymore.
All right, Hendrix, Clapton, Jimmy Page, Prince, Jeff Beck, Brian May at Queen. You can probably put him in there as well. I'm just thinking off the top of my head some of these. Slash is another guy. Randy Rhoads, who was with Ozzy Osbourne. Where do you slot Eddie Van Halen with the greatest guitarist of all time?
Did you bring up Clapton?
Yeah, I said Clapton. Yeah, Clapton.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. Just the guy was just sensational. I mean, he didn't invent tapping, but he certainly perfected it and made it famous. And I love the story. I mean, this is a guy. I mean, I don't think Alex could read sheet music either. Eddie Van Halen didn't know how to read music. He just played off feel, played off vibe, played off emotion. And listen, I mean, I was a huge Van Halen fan, but I really didn't care for David Lee Roth. Still don't, to be honest with you. I think most people, if they say why you're a fan of Van Halen, it's because of Eddie, right? You don't go to hear David Lee Roth sing. You don't go to hear the drums. You go to hear that guy play guitar. That's certainly why I went to Van Halen shows. I was fortunate to see them 4 times over the years, and I mean, even when he has a bad night, people still come up to him and compliment, say, like, dude, you're amazing. That's unbelievable, which I know kind of drove him crazy a little bit because he's very hard on himself and thought, he should have been a perfectionist every single time out. But, I mean, I mean, certainly I would say, when did Van Halen come out? Like in the late 70s?
Late 70s. It was amazing how they evolved because they were a band around Pasadena, California that just kind of would hand out flyers and play in backyards and then became a phenomenon in Southern California that ultimately got them to Van Halen 1, which is one of the greatest rock albums ever.
And they kind of brought rock back, because you're kind of talking about like the late disco era. And
78.
Kind of in that way.
Yeah, Van Halen was 78, yeah.
Yeah, so you're bringing rock back, and obviously I wasn't alive back then, but man, like I've heard people say that back then they just didn't sound like anything. Like people stopped in their tracks the first time they heard Van Halen. I was kind of the same way. Like I kind of got into them like in 6th and 7th grade. I remember the first time going to like Best Buy or like Sam Goody or Karma back then. I bought a handful of like Van Halen CDs. And I remember all my friends being like, who is this? What is this? What are you listening to? And I got a handful of like my buddies hooked on them as well, just because they just don't sound like anybody else. I mean, it's unmistakable or unmistakable to hear a Van Halen riff or a Van Halen song and not know it's them. That's just how, you can identify with them. And it just, I mean, so many great solos, so many great riffs that, you think back and you're like, dude, these guys were geniuses, and they were just kind of making it up as they went.
Man, that's a great way to go about it. When you have that great level of success and you're kind of just going with the flow, that's the best. And that's how you can tell that's across all walks of career life here too. When you can do that just off of, your reaction without having to, the unlearned stuff, the reactionary stuff, I think is always the best stuff for me. So,
I don't know the complete history of the band, like obviously the ins and outs of it, but just knowing what I do know about it, I think it's a miracle they stayed together as long as they did.
I'm sure.
Considering, you know what I'm saying? Like there was so much contentious, vibes in that group. And the only reason they had David Lee Roth in the band to begin with, right, the story goes, is he was renting out the PA system for Alex and Eddie to borrow so they could play gigs with their band that they had. And so they thought, okay, this is an economic decision. Let's just invite this guy to be in our band so we don't have to pay him money to rent his PA system every weekend. And that's kind of how it all started. And then, he's got his whole thing where he wants to be like the front man. He wants to sit up there and play dance disco music. And obviously there's, the whole Van Halen thing where they want to be a rock band. So, again, I think it's a miracle they lasted as long as they did. I think it's a miracle that Sammy joined when he did and then lasted as long as that version lasted. And again, I give that era of Van Halen, like in the mid to late 80s to 90s, a lot more, I guess, credence than most people do, because again, if it wasn't for that, Van Halen would have died, and we just wouldn't have been able to hear Eddie play on those albums, on those songs. And I think, you got to give it credit, because there's some good stuff, man. There's some good stuff from the Sammy area. I mean, that 5150 album is probably one of my favorite Van Halen albums, and I still have it in my car, to be honest with you. And I turn it on, and there's some good stuff on there. Best of Both Worlds and 5150. Dreams is one of my favorite Van Halen songs. So, yeah, I mean, yesterday was tough, man. It really was. It was tough.
Yeah, it did. It absolutely sucked. So it did. And 1984 was when they really weren't commercialized or a chart band until 1984, and then Jump was their first number one. That was just this one of the iconic albums of the decade. There's no question about that. So a lot of great memories. There's no doubt. Plus, I mean, he got to tap into Valerie Bertinelli back in the day when that was a big deal. So
well, then after 1984, then it was all over. I mean, the band broke up after that. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, you had all that success. Well, I mean that's what happens. I mean, you get David Lee Roth wanted to be him, and he was I Want My MTV, because they were such a big deal on MTV back then too, and he wanted to go and do his own album. So you could see that coming a mile away.
No question about it. Then he comes back in 2012 and slices his nose on Jimmy Kimmel with a baton. Right?
Well, I remember we went to watch him, and he was kind of grounded. He's not jumping around and doing karate kicks. He was just doing like some grounded karate moves back then.
Obviously, you can take from this conversation that I'm not a big David Lee Roth guy.
But again, you like the stuff. You're younger, so when 5150 and OU 812, when all that came out, I mean, that was in your wheelhouse. My wheelhouse was Van Halen 1 and 2 and Women and Children First and Diver Down and then ultimately 1984. So it stands to reason that I would like a great deal David Lee Roth. So.
Well, I mean, certainly I think I like more David Lee Roth songs catalog-wise than Sammy songs, but I'm just talking like as a front man.
Yeah.
He didn't do it for me. Like, I saw him in 2015. The last time they toured, they came here in August. I think he sang like every third or fourth word, and it was just
all those old dudes are doing that now, man. I mean, Coverdale. When I did the Whitesnake concert, Coverdale had the crowd sing all the time. I mean, the crowd were hitting the high notes. That's just what happens when you get old, brother.
Yeah.
I'm on that track right now.
He wasn't even trying though. Like, it was off key, and I'm good. Like, if you don't want the song to sound just like it sounds on the record, I'm cool with that. But he wasn't even trying. Like, it was horrendous.
Well, I'm starting on the JMV Takeover Saturday night at 6. I'm going to do Eruption, and then You Really Got Me back to back, and then play a block of Van Halen in honor of the late great Eddie Van Halen. So hashtag JMV Takeover Saturday night at 6. And I'm sure Eruption's never been played down the hall on B. So unless it came after Vanessa Carlton.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been sitting in a dentist chair listening to B105.7 and have Eruption. Come on.
Can you imagine that? Yeah.
I don't think I've ever gotten a teeth cleaning with Eruption in the background.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to change it up a little bit at 6 o'clock coming up on Saturday. Hey, what's the expectation? Because Anthony Costanzo, there's no doubt he is arguably the most important, or certainly right there as far as having somebody healthy going into any football weekend. The ribs situation, what's the long-term outlook you think for Sunday? Because that's the big deal against Cleveland in Cleveland Sunday.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, he didn't practice today, and neither did Darius Leonard and Bobby Okereke. So it's a little concerning because you might be without your starting left tackle, and that's big for everything you just said. But then your two middle linebackers against the best rushing offense by far in the NFL. It's not good timing to hit, some key areas on both offense and defense as far as injuries go. So if Anthony can't play, and again, we're early on in the week here, we still got, tomorrow and Friday's practice to see where he is. But, it'd be LaRaven Clark, who came in off the bench late in the game on Sunday. I think he played the last 4 or 5 snaps on offense on that last possession for the Colts. So either be him or you got Chaz Green, who didn't play at all last year. He was out of the league in 2019, has started a handful of games at left tackle in previous stops with the Dallas Cowboys. So those 2 guys I would think would be next in line at the tackle position. But, you're talking, you just can't replace, 22 straight starts with this starting 5 offensive line dating back to the start of last year. You just can't replace that chemistry and that amount of cohesion. And not to mention, you've got Myles Garrett, who leads the NFL in sacks on the other side and just one of the premier pass rushers in the National Football League. And if it's not him, it's, Olivier Vernon, kind of take your pick. They're very, very, very good up front along that defensive line. One thing they don't do well is they, just kind of going big picture on the game, Cleveland's defense is not good in the passing game. Teams just haven't ran it on them because they haven't had to, because they're just so porous in the back end. But, yeah, as far as the big picture of the game goes, your 2 stud middle linebackers not being there, that's not good because, despite Nick Chubb going on IR, they still have Kareem Hunt, D'Ernest Johnson, rather. They ran the ball all over Dallas. And I know Dallas' defense is not very good, but, man, when you run for 307 yards in an NFL game, you're doing something. And they've got one of the best offensive lines in football that can get after you. And if you don't have a full deck, at linebacker, that could be tough.
Yeah, I talked to Anthony Walker just a little bit ago before you came on, and I asked him about it. To me, it kind of seems like you see this defense swarming to the football more than we have ever seen it before. And he downplays it, which they all do, suggesting that's just what they're taught and what they're trying to do. But is that something you see up there and calling the game? Because to me, it seems obvious, but maybe I'm missing something.
No, that's something that I pointed out on the air during the game with Rick Venturi. If you're not a Colts fan and you just turned on that Bears and Colts game just for the pleasure of watching a good game, you're probably thinking to yourself, man, the Colts defense, these guys fly around, man. They get after it. They're good tacklers. They don't let big plays happen, and they're sound. And I can't think of a time on Sunday where just one Colts player made a tackle. I mean, it was gang tackling everywhere, 3 and 4 guys around the football at all times. And I definitely noticed that. And I think it's evident more so this year than in years past. And it's always been a hallmark under Matt Eberflus since he joined the Colts in 2018 is, flying to the ball, pursuit angles, no loafs, calling people out, trying to get maximum 120% effort on every play. But it's definitely evident this year. I mean, you can just see it with the eyeball test if you're not a football person, so to speak. And I think Anthony Walker is kind of, the biggest guy that stands out. He was everywhere on Sunday, 11 tackles, just always around the football. He's having a terrific year. And again, you want to be playing at full strength because you want to see the top-ranked defense go up against the top rushing attack in the NFL, but you want to do it with your studs and Leonard and Okereke and complement what you have up front. And Grover Stewart, who's having a great year. Yeah. DeForest Buckner kind of speaks for itself. But you want to see that matchup just because it's so good going into the game on paper.
So Matt Taylor, he's the voice of the Colts. He's via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline and also a huge fan of Van Halen. Did you have the Van Halen logo etched or drawn on any of your high school or junior high or elementary notebooks back in the day?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had stickers. I had logos. I had it slapped in my locker. Oh, yeah. Dude, you know me. Like, I'm 18 years old, and no one knows who Van Halen is when I was growing up. Like, no one listened to that stuff.
You were 18 years. What year was it when you were 18? Was that 2000s?
That was 2003 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody had Nickelback written on everything at Ron Colley when you went there.
I mean, I was driving out of football games listening to like Unchained and Pound Cake. Everybody's like, "What are you listening to?" Everybody else is listening to
Photograph by Nickelback. Look at this photograph.
Blink 182.
Blink 182. Yeah. Bowling for Soup. We got some Bowling for Soup. We're gonna roll out of here and play right now.
Or they were rocking out at some Lit.
Hey, you know that Coach Strykowski is my son Blake's geography teacher, right? Do you realize that?
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Coach Chris Stryker.
We keep in touch. We keep in touch. I said, man, I don't know. If you have to whip his ass, whip his ass. Do it. Just do it. So.
What does he have? He's taking, what is it, geography?
Yeah. He loves geography, so that's a plus. So it's not like math or anything like that. Yeah. So yeah, but he loves it. He's digging it over there. That's for real. So
that's good. I'm glad to hear it, man.
All right.
Good choice.
1:30 pregame coverage begins with me and the Gorman and Bill Brooks. How do you think this Gorman experiment's going here? Is it?
I was going to ask you. You tell me. I mean,
yeah, well,
it's always kind of a flip of the coin, isn't it?
Did you hear about him putting Sam Darnold as a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, a couple weeks ago?
Oh, for real?
Oh yeah, I did an entire segment on Sam Darnold.
Oh well, yeah. He's got a long way to go.
But we do. I did. There's no
big hole to climb out.
Papa John's has a vacant sponsorship there, so now it's the Jeffrey Gorman's early exit brought to you by Papa John's. No, because he's got to make sure that he gets down there and gets the shrimp cocktail before it's gone. So.
Yeah, well, Jeffrey is spread too thin. That is the moral of the story here. He's got too much on his plate, I think.
All right, buddy. Good to talk with you, and we'll talk. I'm sure get close to talking or something later on this week. Thanks, brother.
All right, you got it. Be good.
Matt Taylor on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Yeah, not a lot of dudes in the early to mid 2000s rolling around with Van Halen etched on their notebooks. Lit. You get Bowling for Soup. That's outstanding. All right, Kevin Bowen coming up at 5. I want to ask him about Nyheim Hines. Is Nyheim Hines being utilized to the best of his possible production abilities offensively? We'll talk about that and a lot more coming up at the top of the hour. Your phone calls at 239-1070. Inside the Lounge. That's the Lounge, the Ride with JMV on YouTube Live. 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Why not make a trip back downtown? Downtown Indy needs us to come shop, dine, and play. Visit 1075thefan.com for your chance to win a downtown prize pack.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
The annual Miss Twin Peaks is back. Watch on Twin Peaks Facebook and Instagram to cast your vote. Enjoy new cocktails and specials on Bud Light Seltzer, Don Julio Blackberry Margarita and Red Bull, and Tito's Handmade Vodka. Twin Peaks, 82nd Street and I-69.
Hey, it's John here for Heaven Hill Distillery. Brent Holverson and I are going to bring you the Larceny Bourbon Locks, the Luna Azul Tequila Shots tomorrow for week number 5 live from Harrah's Hoosier Park in Anderson. Join us as the Larceny is free-flowing. Don't miss out. Join us there. You can be a part of it as well. Harrah's Hoosier Park in Anderson, the Larceny Bourbon Locks, the Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Coming up tomorrow beginning at 3 on 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
It's showtime at BetMGM Sports as Major League Baseball playoff action steps up to the plate. Now register today and win $100 in free bets. Just place $1 moneyline wager on any team. If a home run is hit in any game played that day, you win regardless of your bet's outcome. Simply use bonus code WFNI100 when you sign up to take advantage of this offer. Step into the batter's box with confidence at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Then go all in on the action with parlay bonus payouts, boosted odds specials, daily promotions, and much more. Download the app today or go to BetMGM.com and use bonus code WFNI100 to win $100 in free bets if a home run is hit in any game. October baseball means something more at BetMGM. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years or older to wager. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
The Sundown Gardens Fall Sale is here. Save on all trees and shrubs, including bald and burlapped evergreens. During Sundown Gardens Fall Sale, save 20% on all trees and shrubs. Save now and plant during the milder weather. Come spring, they'll be ready to grow when the sun hits them. Sundown Gardens has ornamental grasses, hydrangeas for sun or shade, shrub roses, and boxwood. During During Sundown Gardens Fall Sale, save 30% on all pottery and indoor fall decor, too. Sundown Gardens, 186 and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
Present you is burnt out at your current job, but future you works at Geico, and future you is also a beekeeper.
Me? I don't even go outside.
Well, with Geico, you got a consistent schedule, so you are now one with nature, my friend.
So I've become a bee person?
Technically an apiarist, and yes, you also got a competitive salary, so you had the funds to start a new hobby.
All right, give me that honey.
Indy, start your future at Geico. We're hiring claims, sales, and service agents. Apply online today at geico.job/Indy.
Hey, Indy, check out the brand new concept called Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. The new store is now open in Greenwood on State Road 135, just north of Smith Valley Road. Get an unbelievable haircut, hot lather neck shape, and hot towel treatment for just $14. Lady Jane's is unreal. TVs everywhere, comfy leather recliners, and the best stylist in Indy. Lady Jane's in Greenwood on State Road 135, just north of Smith Valley Road. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Greenwood. It's wicked awesome.
Every play could be the play that matters for you. Whether it's a touchdown, a first down, or the next reception, with live betting from Unibet. Live betting options for every moment of the game. Sign up today to get a limited time offer of a $600 risk-free bet and get $30 free to bet with. Download the app or visit in.unibet.com. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in Indiana. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Your home for the 2020 NBA Finals is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Wow. I don't know what to say. I guess the only thing I can say is I'll promise to keep rocking and rolling and making better films.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh. How did our eyes get so red? And what the hell is on Joey's head? This is where I grew up. I think the president would have fixed it up. I never knew we ever went without. The second floor is on for sneaking up.
I'm just going to play this. You guys mind?
Most of the time had better things to do. Criminal record says I'm broken twice. I must have done it half a dozen times. I wonder if it's too late. Should I go?
So I talked about this a little bit earlier. Sources confirm that a group of about 15 Titans players held a workout at Montgomery Bell Academy in Nashville last Wednesday, one day after the team's facility was shut down by 8 positive COVID-19 tests. And now apparently Corey Davis has been put on the COVID-19 list, wide receiver for the Titans. They apparently are COVID-ridden right now. Also a little bit earlier, and we'll see where this goes. I haven't heard any more about it, but apparently Lucas Oil Stadium is being considered for that Monday night game between the Saints and the Chargers that originally is scheduled in New Orleans, but because of Hurricane Delta and the effect that they're predicting it has on the Louisiana Gulf, that could be moved, and that could be moved here. Now, we started talking about that at 3 o'clock and haven't heard anything else about it. But that's the latest. Hey, JMV, what's the over-under for how many school books and student notebooks are littered with Van Halen drawings? Listen, back in the day, if you didn't have Van Halen, you had AC/DC. You didn't have AC/DC, you had Van Halen. Probably the most, and Led Zeppelin was probably in there too. But I'm just going to say those two bands probably had the most etched notebooks with those two bands' logos. At JMV, did Matt Taylor just say 1978? He wasn't alive back then. He's a pretty good music historian. I mean, listen, he's friends with Dog. Dog, they work over on West 56. There's nobody that knows classic rock better than Dog. Yesterday would have been 2 for Tuesday back in the day. They'd have done 2 for Tuesday with Van Halen all day. You know that. Hey, JMV, I saw David Lee Roth open for Kiss in February. He was a shell of his old self. So bad. May have been the worst act I've seen live. And I saw Stryper live. You just get old. Like, I loved watching Whitesnake, and David Coverdale's a stud. But David Coverdale, to hit those high notes most of the time, he just kind of held the microphone out to the crowd and let the crowd sing it. You just get to a point. It's tough to hit those high notes anymore like you used to. I get it. Yeah, I saw this courtesy of Rolling Stone from Pearl Jam. Stone Gossard said regarding Eddie Van Halen, quote, Van Halen changed the world, and that's true originality right there. Nobody knows how to really play like him. And that's coming from a talented dude, to say the least. Hey, JMV, I don't think you're going overboard at all regarding the usage or lack thereof of Nyheim Hines. They have to find a place for him at some point, especially with these injuries offensively. Completely agree. All right, quick break. We'll talk to Kevin Bowen about that coming up on the other side. Race of the day, 545, Harris Hoosier Park in Anderson for our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots coming up tomorrow with 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. It's already October and the leaves are falling. If you're still thinking about that perfect home, it's not too late. And with mortgage interest rates in the twos, you have so much more buying power. At the Home Loan Expert office, we can get you pre-approved and locked in the same day and have you closed in 30 days or less. Enjoy the holidays in your new home and get pre-approved today at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Hey, John, for PAI, it's WeGrowHairIndy.com. If you're losing your hair, you want to do something about it, you want those options of multi-unit hair grafting, or if you're watching me on YouTube Live and you go, look at that handsome chiseled face and the glorious head of hair atop it. I can just direct you to that private consultation with Darren Andrews. You, too, can have glorious lettuce like I do, just by going to PAI. Talk to Darren Andrews about multi-unit hair grafting, Artist Robotic FUE, laser hair therapy, PRP, and he'll tell you all about it. All you got to do is dial 888-724-5129. That's 888-724-5129. You, too, can have this glorious lid covering like me with PAI. WeGrowHairIndy.com today.
Place your legal sports bets at BetRivers.com, your new home for sports betting. Millions of betting options a year on the sports you love. We offer live in-game betting on major sporting events worldwide. Tons of bets available during games, from money lines, prop bets, and many more. Use one of our 12 easy deposit methods to get in on the action. And when you win, we offer fast and reliable withdrawals. Sign up now, and we'll match your first deposit up to $250. More bets, better odds, more action. Place your sports bets at BetRivers.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
This corona culture we're living in is just another example of how life can throw some unexpected challenges at you. This is Dan Dockich. When you're faced with difficult times, it's always comforting to have a professional on your side who actually cares about you as a person. If you or someone you know experienced an accident as a driver, passenger, rider, or pedestrian, keep in mind what my guy Randy Sevenish and Sevenish Law recommends during these challenging financial times. Do not try to negotiate with the insurance company yourself, thinking you are saving money, and be wary of discount lawyers. A quick payday may not be best for you. Do not leave money on the table. It's your money. Even though some courts are closed right now, Randy is still here for you. He's able to meet with you and still take the next negotiation steps for resolution. Do not hesitate to take on the insurance giants during these tough times. Call Sevenish Law, the fierce protectors of the injured, where you're treated like a person, not just a case number. 317-636-7777 and SevenishLaw.com.
Hey, shout out to my friends at CarX, Mike and the gang down in Greenwood and that location nearest you. Check it out, CarX.com, to find that nearest location and know this, that Joe Shoulders and the gang understand that in these economic times, you're probably not thinking about having some money and wanting directly to go and make sure that everything's on the up and up with a car, truck, or van, but it's necessary to keep your car or truck or van road ready. And the great part about CarX is this: they can do absolutely everything for your ride, and they also offer incredible financing. And listen, different levels for different situations. It is. They try to adapt to you to make sure your vehicle remains road ready. That's CarX. Shout out to Joe Childers, the Central Indiana CarX locations. If you go down to Greenwood, tell Micah and Kevin and the gang I sent you today. Online, CarX.com. Don't worry. Call the CarX man.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Need some extra cash today? Do you have bad credit or maxed out credit cards? If so, turn your radio up. 45cash.com is one of the nation's largest personal loan networks with over 100 different lenders. Now you can get a personal loan for up to $5,000 with any type of credit, discreetly from your computer or smartphone. Your cash can hit your bank account as soon as tomorrow, as our lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 45cash.com to get the cash you need. Type www.45cash.com directly into the address bar. That's 45cash.com. 45cash.com.
This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis. Your home for Colts football.
Rivers backs the throw on 1st and goal. Throws right side. It's a touchdown for the Colts. Zach Pascal.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
If somebody gets in your face and calls you a I want you to be nice.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Anthony Walker Jr., Matt Taylor, podcast 1075thefan.com. Race of the day, 5:45. And our Wednesday baby song for Kevin Bowen, courtesy of the late, great Eddie Money on the Fan. Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline. That makes sense for you? Have you heard that one before?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely Take Me Home Tonight, Eddie Money.
No, wait a minute. Take me home. Kevin Bowen wants to hear Take Me Home Tonight.
You're on it quick there.
I'm all over everything here. Hey, here's one for you. Let's see if you like this Eddie Money classic. What do you think? That's in your catalog. You play that on the way down here and on the way home, don't you?
Oh, 100%. Oh, yeah. I was rocking out to that at the Legends on Monday. That was blasting in our golf cart.
Hell yeah. Did you guys have a good time, by the way, down there?
We did. Yeah, we had an absolute blast, and always a good time. And thank you to Ted Bishop for having us out there.
Man.
You put on a great event, man.
It was, I think, one of the best ever, and I literally had zero to do with it. It was just everybody. I will say this. I mentioned this yesterday. I kind of got a little off the rails at about 1:30 and had to take a knee and go take a car nap in the parking lot.
Did you really?
I did, yeah. Yeah, I had to recalibrate a little bit. So
nothing like the Monday afternoon 1:30 p.m. car nap to get you back on track.
Some dude walks by and goes, hey, Ted, you got somebody sleeping in a car out in your parking lot. That's the guy that's going to do the radio show in about an hour. There you go.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, when I was on with you on Monday, I thought you did a great job.
It was fun, man. It was fun, and the cause is just fantastic. But I think because you can make it, like the people that cover the Colts can make it. We had Tucker there. It sucks the Reds aren't playing, but he got back and he came down there. You had the Pacers folks. You had Denary and JJ and Eddie White brought Allison Barber from the Fever, the COO and the president, and Eddie Gill. It was just great. It really was.
Yeah, it was. It's been a while since I've seen those the Pacers crew, so fun to see them. And I've caught up with Margaret a little bit from Teachers Treasures on Hold 10, and she's such a great spokesperson for them and everything. So really, really great cause, and I'm honored to play in it every year.
It's Kevin Bowen with us. I'm going to start right here because we've been discussing, because the defense is all the rage right now, and that's great. They're 3-1, but this offense has been bogged down, especially in the red zone. And they're missing Paris Campbell. You're missing Marlon Mack. You're missing Michael Pittman Jr. Are we seeing the underutilization of Nyheim Hines? If so, why? Is it Frank and Nick Sirianni not coming up with just exactly how to use him, or am I making too much out of him at this point?
You know, I mean, he had 9 carries on Sunday, which is a decent number, but I think he's been a bit underutilized more in the receiving game. I thought when you lost Campbell, I thought he'd be a guy that would really help you out as kind of the slot, speed, gadgety, quick, twitch sort of athlete, but we really haven't seen a whole lot out of him. And I think in the red zone, he is a guy in the kind of short area part of the field. He can really create separation. It might have been Roquan Smith was guarding him earlier in the game one-on-one, and he just absolutely undressed him in the open field, not only creating separation to make the catch, but then he made a miss and got a few yards after catch as well. So I think specifically red zone right now, and I was asking Frank this earlier today, you hear this phrase all the time, players, not plays. Well, my thinking is, okay, Mo Alley Cox seems to have developed kind of into a unique weapon for you, or someone that can certainly, physically is a demanding presence. I'd like to see him more involved in that area. I know you threw the pick in his direction on Sunday, but I think he's someone that you could use down there. And I think Hines out of the slot, definitely. I just don't think with how quickly Rivers gets rid of it. I mean, he had that ball, I'm thinking of Pascal over the middle on Sunday where, I mean, it seemed like he just threw it away after a second and a half. A bigger body like Alley Cox, a guy that can, is a little shiftier like Hines, those would seem to be a couple guys that could help you out when the field shrinks.
I think about it this way, too, Kev. It seemed like whenever Hines was taking a handoff, it was one right up the middle to nowhere. I mean, just getting stoned up the middle. And to me, that wasn't the way to really utilize his skill set.
No, yeah, you like him in space. He's never really, this year, honestly, it's probably the best he's been yards per carry-wise. He's never been a great natural tailback, if you will, lining him up and running the same sort of plays you'd run with Marlon Mack or Jordan Wilkins or now Jonathan Taylor. It's just never led to the same sort of success that you have with those other guys. So, yeah, I want to see Hines more in space. I mean, really, some of the second and long runs the Colts had on Sunday, were a bit maddening for sure. They've really struggled running it up the gut. I mean, if you look at kind of the deeper analytic numbers, they are terrible this season and running up the middle, which you would think that would be a strength of this football team, behind Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly. So that's something that definitely has to change. And short yardage situations, they've really struggled running the ball as well. So I'd say that's probably the most disappointing aspect to this 3-1 start has been just the inability to run the football.
Yeah, Kevin Bowens from the Fan 107.5, thefan.com. You can find his work there. You can follow him on Twitter as well every Wednesday with us. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I believe LaRaven Clark has 12 starts in his NFL career. Might he get 13 on Sunday in Cleveland?
Boy, some might say that's 12 too many. Yeah, it'd be fitting him getting his 13th start from Ryan Grigson and Andrew Berry, who were a part of the regime that drafted him, obviously, especially Grigson. But boy, it's when a guy misses a Wednesday practice, it's not great. When Frank Reich had no willingness to discuss injuries today, that put up a quick red flag even before practice was starting of something of note was going to happen. And Costanzo never misses snaps. He stays in the game. I mean, even when they're up by a lot, he's a guy that likes to stay in the game. And when he wasn't out there for the final 4 snaps of the game on Sunday, when you weren't straight kneel down, you didn't kneel it right away on that first down run. That's when you definitely knew something was up. And a rib is just a little bit different. Rib injury, you feel like that's a little bit more difficult to gauge. So yes, Costanzo has played without practicing and an entire week before. But as of right now, I think it's very much up in the air if he's going to be out there. And this is probably one of the 1 or 2 worst teams in the NFL to not have your left tackle. Myles Garrett has got to be salivating at that. And when we talked about the red zone earlier, John, I mean, think about that. If you feel like you've got to leave Jack Doyle into chip or, Jordan Wilkins or Nyheim Hines into block, there goes another weapon that you would like to kind of, displace in a route tree. So if Costanzo's limited or he doesn't play in any way, that is a massive loss on any normal week, and it's about as worse of a loss as you could have considering you're facing the NFL's top sack man, Myles Garrett.
If you had to pick one of the three, between Okereke, Costanzo, and Leonard, which one would you think would not play on Sunday as of right now?
Oh, that's a good one. Probably Leonard of the three. You hate to ever act like having surgery on a thumb is nothing to, whatever, guys should play through that. But there's certainly been guys that have had surgery on their thumb, like Bobby Okereke is supposed to have this week, and then they club it up and they still play that weekend. So, yeah, seemingly there. Costanzo's history is a guy that, again, he has had times, I think back to that Houston game a few years ago down there in Houston where he didn't practice all week. They tested out in pregame warmups, and he was outstanding against Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt. So I'm just kind of going off of that. Leonard, you hate to read too much into, he was still wearing his pads on Sunday in the second half and things like that. For a guy that has a hurt groin, misses a Wednesday practice, it's just his game is so predicated on speed. If you're going to make me pick out of those three, I would say he's the most unlikely. But, again, I can't confidently say right now on any of the three.
It's Kevin Bowen, 1075thefan.com. He's via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Again, we're just through 4 games, 4 weeks of the season, and we take that in consideration. But we often talk outside our ass here, so whatever. Let's do it. I'm curious, of the off-season acquisitions via trade or free agency, including quarterbacks, where would you rank the effect that DeForest Buckner has had on the Colts team compared to others that have had a similar, a higher, or a lower effect on successful teams through 4 weeks? Where would he rank, even with quarterbacks in mind?
In the entire NFL?
Yes.
Oh, man. Boy, considering the jump that defense has made, I would put him pretty darn close to the top.
I would agree because, listen, we know the soft schedule. We know about they haven't played anybody yet. We know it's early, but I'm considering as I sit here, as you sit there, and breaking this down. And through 4 weeks, it doesn't seem like with the numbers the Colts are putting up defensively, you have seen more of an effect with anybody else that you have seen, offensively or defensively, that you've seen here with the Colts and DeForest Buckner.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. It's funny, if you were to put his numbers in front of me, 1.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss through 4 games, I would have been like, okay, that's decent, but it's not all pro number 13 overall pick. And yet I still feel like he's impacting the game on just an incredibly high rate from where the Colts ever were at that defensive tackle position. And I say ever. They've never had the amount of disruption that he is creating. He has 8 quarterback hits, which is a huge number. That's a number much more indicative of, I think, the type of disruption that he's providing. And I thought, I forget who was saying this earlier in the week, but at 6'7", 300, there's just size, length, and power there that even some of the best defensive tackles in the league don't necessarily have. Like Aaron Donald, is a little bit stouter. He's shorter, a little bit of a wider body. He really has to get in there and finish a play to, truly feel the effect of him out there. Buckner at 6'7", 300, if he can get an arm up in a passing lane or just, blurry vision to an opposing quarterback, his sheer physique can really disrupt things. So there's been a huge trickle-down effect up front. Danico Autry, Grover Stewart, Justin Houston have all seen big-time moments early on. So, yeah, it would be I'm trying to think of who else I'd even put up there. Cam had a great start, obviously, and that's been derailed a bit. But, yeah, when you're talking –
Well, you got Brady, you got Cam Newton, you got Teddy Bridgewater, you got quarterbacks. Jamal Adams defensively in the secondary when he goes from the Jets to the Seahawks, not a similar effect. I'm not talking about the drafted guys because I don't think there's been really drafted guys that have had that type of effect. What it does, I mean, it completely justifies the trade for number 13 and then the heavy paycheck they ended up signing him to for the future because he has meant so much to the way this defense looks and, Kev, the way the numbers have translated this defense looking through 4 weeks.
Yeah, this is not skating by like you were early on last season. You know, there's a big stat that Chris Ballard eventually pointed to at the end of last year when they finished, losing 7 of 9. He felt like 5-2. The start they had last year was a bit flukish. A bit, are we playing with fire? Why all these one possession games? Your point differential was +7 after that 5-2 start. Your point differential right now is +47. 4 weeks, and I think it's the third highest in the NFL. And again, what you're doing on the defensive side of the ball, how you're controlling field position. Buckner did it on the first, might have been the first play of the game on Sunday where, he seemingly is engaged with a Bears offensive lineman. He disengages and is able to make that stop near the line of scrimmage. And I think just sets the tone for really, I thought Sunday was the best defensive performance of the season because they weren't reliant on, Sam Darnold throwing them the football or, even Kirk Cousins taking some chances down multiple scores. It was just simply 3 and out. Yeah, they let up the 1 field goal drive early on, but after that, it was punt, punt, punt. And I think that to me is more of a complete dominant defensive performance than maybe some of the playmaking that at times can come and go and isn't as reliable as just you getting off the field on a routine basis. Buckner, considering you pretty much brought back every starter, now you've had the Hooker injury, but, pretty much every starter outside of Xavier Rhodes and Buckner was the same at the start of the year. And for you to play like this certainly says the impact that he's making for you.
So Kevin Bowen, 1075thefan.com. Do they need to, should they be looking around to sign another wide receiver, to make a deal for another wide receiver? Here's why I ask this, because I'm pro wide receiver anyway, right? But Paris Campbell, I'm not going to hold my breath that this dude returns by the end of the season. Michael Pittman Jr., for at least the foreseeable future here, is going to be out. You get Marcus Johnson because you know him, you feel good about him. But how much of the lack of red zone efficiency that we have seen can you lump into the fact that they have some major injuries, especially the wide receiving core, and then they have a guy in T.Y. Hilton that's doing little to nothing right now? Are we to a point where they need to sign somebody that has been there and done that with wide receiving in mind?
Yeah, I'd definitely be scouring that market because when you think about even a healthy T.Y., he's never been a big touchdown guy at all. So, how much help is he giving you in the red zone? Michael Pittman seemingly was becoming more of a third down, kind of bigger body. You would think he could have, and still can. I think he's going to return here in early November. He could grow into that. And then obviously Campbell, I just think with his quickness would have helped you out there as well. So, a lot of people have asked me, the trade deadline's coming up here in a couple of weeks. I hate partying with draft picks when you don't know the long-term answer at quarterback, especially if this team is going to continue to what they've done through the first, 4 weeks of the season and seemingly be a 10-win, 11-win football team. They're going to be drafting, very late, and you're going to have to move up, and that's going to cost you a lot of draft picks to find that quarterback. So that would be a little bit of pause that I would have out there of just, trading a fourth-round pick for somebody or things like that. I feel like A.J. Green's the most popular name with how little usage he's been to Cincinnati compared to how much money he makes. So, but still, having said that, yeah, I am worried about the wideout group right now for sure. And tight end-wise, I think that's where Burton can help you a little bit more. I mentioned Allie Cox earlier. I think you got to lean on those guys to try and help you out in the red zone.
Yeah, like a guy like Mohamed Sanu, float a boat at all?
Yeah, I like his size, but then I'm like, doesn't San Francisco have a need at wideout, and he didn't work out, really there for them at all. He produced a little bit last year for the Patriots and for the Falcons as well. So, from a size standpoint, I would, kick the tires on it. I think he plays a little bit bigger than how he's listed. But I look at him and think, man, again, San Francisco seems to be in need to help out the wideout position, considering some of their injuries, and clearly he was of no help to them.
Who do you think is going to be the next head coach of the Houston Texans?
That's a good question. I think it'll be enemy.
Who's that?
Think of enemy. Chiefs.
Oh, Eric Bieniemy is what you said. Okay.
Yeah. I think I know there's talks a little bit of Dabo and whatnot, but I don't see that happening. I think the big thing, honestly, is just getting more of this is our GM, this is our head coach, and I don't know why Bill O'Brien acquired all that power so early in his tenure. I mean, seemingly he was a decent football coach at times. Like they have won the division 4 out of the last 6 years, but you have to give a head coach that type of authority with personnel, and you're going to make some just stupid decisions. And they made a lot of stupid decisions, and it's come back to hurt them. So a little bit surprised that they pulled the plug this early in the season, because we saw it a couple of years ago. They came back from a poor September, but still clearly with the disconnect with J.J. Watt, it seems like this is a move that probably had to be done.
How much do you give with the resurgence now at 3-1 of the Browns? How much do you put on the shoulders of Andrew Berry, helping get that done? Hopefully for them going in the right direction. How much credit do you think he gets?
I'll give them credit with what they've done. I think the offensive line. I mean, they went out and they signed Jack Conklin in the offseason, and then they drafted Jedrick Wills. And now you've got, 2 bookend tackles that, Conklin clearly had his ups and downs in Tennessee. Didn't want to pay him that deal. But Cleveland's offensive line, when they came to Grand Park last year, was absolutely pathetic. And now, given your number 1 overall pick, on paper, really one of the better offensive lines in football through the first 4 weeks of the season. So I'll definitely give him credit there. For sure. I mean, yes, some of this talent he inherited from Beckham and Chubb and even some of those guys on the defensive ball, obviously Myles Garrett. But, specifically, and honestly, I think it's probably some of the scar tissue he saw here in Indianapolis with, how the inability to build that offensive line in front of Andrew Luck. That was why, Ryan Grigson eventually was run out of town, whereas in Cleveland, he looks at this number 1 overall pick, and it's like, all right, we've invested a lot into it. Let's make sure we give him a chance, especially for a guy that, probably wants to get out of the pocket more and isn't this 6'5" guy back there that, just can stand in the pocket all day and make throws. So I will give him a lot of credit for going out there and addressing offensive line right away in that first offseason.
Have you guys received any emails or anything from Ryan Grigson
this week?
Yeah, I figured this would be a prime week to have him tell everybody how good he was here. No?
Yeah, no. I mean, I've certainly received emails from him, but nothing this week. So I don't know.
Well, you
maybe
can come on in and read it verbatim if you want, and just
Yeah, long emails. It might take all 3 hours.
They are lengthy. Yeah, I know.
That's
funny.
This is the old Ryan Grigson Andrew Berry Bowl, I guess, if you will. They haven't been there too long.
I didn't know Andrew Berry very well, but people did speak very highly of him. The people that we know over there. So he seemed like a good enough dude. So I felt the same way about Telesco. Everybody, I got to know Telesco a little bit, but they all seem like pretty good dudes, no question.
Yeah, Berry is an outstanding human being. I mean, the Harvard education, but he just gets it. I mean, he's only 33 years old. I'll be 33 in 2 years, and I'll still be hopefully doing the job that I'm doing right now. I mean, it's incredible, his rise, and I think he's, from the Polian era to, the Grigson era and whatnot. I know Colts ownership absolutely loves him and thinks really, really highly of him. So good guy, and clearly from a culture standpoint, who knows? I think there is a little bit of, some heavy personalities in that locker room, but I think specifically what he's done with that offensive line, this is a very good trench unit. I mean, if Costanzo doesn't play, the Colts are really going to be tested from what Cleveland has from an O-line standpoint and then what obviously Myles Garrett can bring to any offensive line, let alone one that could be without their left tackle.
I figured this was certainly going to be a week where you guys got an email. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, maybe I'm not the lucky one that got it, but I
wonder if Kiefer got it. I bet Kiefer. If anybody got one, I bet Kiefer got it.
I would think Chap.
Yeah. You're probably right.
Yeah, I mean, Grigson knows. Chap comes on these airwaves every, all of our shows all week long. So, yeah, I didn't hear any murmurs about it today. You kind of forget. I think I don't know how many listeners realize that Brian Grigson works for the Browns.
Yeah.
It's not something that is like he's a senior football advisor. That's not like the exact title that you think of maybe when you're talking about a team each week.
Would he go and scout? Would he be scouting? Would that be part of that role at all?
I think he's more involved in just kind of like talent evaluation, personnel evaluation. I don't think he's like advanced scout. I don't necessarily think he was at. I mean, I don't remember seeing him in the press. I don't even know if advanced scouting is allowed this year in the NFL.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was going to ask that too. I didn't even know.
Yeah, I definitely did not see him at the Minnesota or the New York game. So I think given his background of, and he will admit this, and he was he was thrown into the fire from being towards a glorified scout, honestly, to becoming running an entire football operation, which is the title that obviously he had here as general manager. So I think his, he would say his strongest asset, I think, is more as a talent evaluator, and too much is thrown on his plate decision-wise that he got away with that, or, got away from that. And then poor personnel decisions happened from there, and that ultimately led to his firing.
So Kevin Bowen, 1075thefan.com. What are you writing about? Anything in particular? Any of these things we've been talking about you're going to try to tie together in an article?
Yeah, I posted something on the defense earlier this week. I'm going to look at the O-line tomorrow morning. Nick Sirianni, Frank Reich, they both don't seem to be very worried about it. And I would disagree with the Colts in this. They point to the kneel downs. They point to the 4-minute offense that that long drive we saw on Sunday that kind of iced the game as, reasons why the yards per carry is the worst in the NFL. But if you look at the first half numbers, you're not kneeling the ball very often in the first half, and you surely aren't in 4-minute offense in the first half. Their first half numbers with their running backs under 4 yards per carry, and with how your team is built, everything invested in the O-line, and the injuries you have at wideout, you can't afford to have poor run blocking.
Yes.
Like you've had so far this season.
And frankly, so much is talked about with this offensive line. I mean, they've been anointed one of the best, if not the best. You got to play better, and you're held to that standard. People are going to say, well, they're 3-1 and it's okay. Well, with that group, they're not put together to be okay. So that's why we bring it up. That's why we talk about it.
And ultimately, you're evaluating a team on how they could look come playoff-wise.
There's no doubt.
Make the playoffs with having a shakier offensive line, but with how this team is built and the receivers you have at wideout, the run blocking performance you saw on Sunday isn't going to get it done in the month of January. And think back to the last time this team was in the playoffs. An unbelievable effort on the ground in that wild card win down in Houston. And then the next week, your O-line gets absolutely whipped in Kansas City against a really poor run defense team back a couple of years ago, and you never had a prayer in that game once you couldn't establish your own run game. So that's why it's so important. And, 3-1, really good start, in solid position to make the playoffs. But as you're trying to kind of project this team in the month of January, you got to have better play from your O-line, specifically run blocking. They've been really good pass protection, but the run blocking's got to get better.
I sit here right now, and it's, 1.5, 2 points, whatever line you might be looking at as the Colts being the road favorite. This is going to be extremely tough, I think, for the Colts on Sunday. I think it's a lot tougher than a lot of people believe. Now, we'll see, because the Browns have some injuries, too. I mean, they've got some guys that they want to see out there that are kind of dinged up a little bit, too. But this much like what we have described as the Colts, playing games, and this is raises the bar, how real are they, how real are they not? This is I think going a long way to be a legitimizing type of game for the Browns coming up on Sunday too.
Yeah, I would agree. I thought last week was a pretty good test for the Colts from what the Bears give you defensively. Now this is by far the best offense you're going to face really for the first 2 months of the season. So I think it's a really good test for how your defense has played so far. And honestly, if you look at the first 7 games, what is it? Jags, Vikings, Jets, Bears. Now you have Browns, Bengals, Lions. Out of those 7 teams, say the team you're most confident making the playoffs in, I'd probably say the Browns. I mean, I don't think that – I know the Bears are 3-1, but I don't see them making the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
So I think when you look at these first 7 games, this is the best litmus test for this football team. Before then, it gets really tough with, we'll see what Tennessee looks like. But obviously, you got Baltimore and Green Bay as well, and still have Pittsburgh later on in the year.
Hey, great job, Kev. Thanks for coming on Monday, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me out there, John.
You got it. Kevin Bowen, 1075thefan.com on the Eddie Moore Automotive Group hotline. Good conversation right there. We'll come back. You guys want to call in? Want to do the last 30 with me at 239-1070? You want to dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? You know what film that's from? Batman. The original Batman? Me either. Not in a while. I didn't like that. I love Prince, but I didn't like Bat Dance and that stuff. I didn't like it. I did like Sexy, which I have played down the hall here. Incredibly edited. Sexy. Not bad dance, though. All right, quick one. We'll come back. Race of the day coming up in less than 15 minutes. I'll tell you where we're going to be tomorrow, and your calls at 239-1070 next.
Every game has 1,000 storylines. So if you've got an angle, a hunch, or some info you got from that guy in 10 fantasy leagues across the street, Unibet's got that bet. Unibet Sportsbook has all the bets you need for every game. Sign up today to get a limited time offer of a $600 risk-free bet and get $30 free to bet with. No deposit required. Download the app or visit in.unibet.com. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in Indiana. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Farm Credit Union, Kevin and the gang, coming up with ways that you can save. Oh, Lainey Lou. That's my daughter, Lainey. She's 10. And every month, Lainey and I announce a Sprout account winner. And you might ask, what's the Sprout account? Well, it is a college fund starter that is utilized and can be utilized for your kids. And you can get it started right now. Forumcu.com. But what we do is we give away $100 in a starter Sprout account for your child. And we do that every month. And in fact, we'll do it coming up for the month of October. It's a brilliant idea. Yet another way that Forum Credit Union helps you save, helps you prepare, helps you map out a path in the future, financially, educationally, for your kids. It's Forum Credit Union's Sprout account. Sign up today online, forumcu.com.
Amazon is now hiring near you. We're looking for team members who know that delivering important packages is important work. Ready to work hard to make someone's every day? Ready for benefits and flexible shifts? Immediate hourly roles are available at amazon.com/apply. That's amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
We all see the world a little differently now. We notice little things we used to take for granted, like driving. Something as simple as just hopping in the car to go to work or take the kids to school. But roads don't just happen. They're built by men and women living in central Indiana. It's as easy to take those workers for granted as the concrete and asphalt you drive on. Union members of Laborers Local 120 maintain and build Indy's roads, bridges, and highways. They're the ones you pass as you drive by the orange barrels. It's hard work. It's dangerous work. And yet there they are, doing the essential work to make sure you have a smoother, safer ride to your destination. And just like you, they want to get home safe too. So, sure, take the roads for granted. But remember the local workers who make them safe for you.
This is Ward Daniels, business manager of Labor's Local 120. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, open your eyes, pay attention.
A message from Indiana Laborers Local 120.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, bowling, bowling.
Bowling's back. Same great game, new rules. And Royal Pin Entertainment wants to help you put the fa-la-la back into your corporate Christmas event. Royal Pin Entertainment offers the perfect combination of food and fun. At Royal Pin, you don't have to be a super athlete to have a blast, and everyone's on the team when you're bowling. It's time to get jolly, and Royal Pin has all the trimmings your company needs to make this year's Christmas event the best ever. It's always comfy in their modern entertainment centers, and bowling's guaranteed to create team spirit and glad tidings. Let Royal Pin organize your company's Christmas event. For more information, download the Open Lane app, call 465-8484, or look them up at royalpin.com.
Royal Pin.
Hey, John for PAI, We Grow Hair Indy.com. If you're watching on YouTube Live right now, you can check it out, too. The Glorious Locks. Thank you, PAI. It's your real growing hair. There's nothing fake, nothing plastic, nothing glued on, nothing stapled on, nothing duct taped on. It is your real growing hair. It is technology. Technology through PRP, platelet-rich plasma, that can give you your hair growth again. Regrowing your hair. You probably thought once upon a time there's no way that could ever happen again, but I give you PAI, 888-724-5129. Let Darren Andrews give you that private consultation and explain it all to you. I can also give you a little background, too, because I have used it, and it is fantastic. 888-724-5129, WeGrowHairAndy.com. Today.
Don't forget to go to PaylessLiquors.com for upcoming events, the weekly ad, or to view a scary Halloween ghoul. Weekly deals include lots of beers and seltzers, plus Pop-Off Vodka is just $8.99, Evan Williams Black Label $20.99, and Tito's is $29.99, and those prices are off with a big 1.75-liter bottle. Plus, Urban Vine wines are always in stock at all 26 locations, and stop by the East Street location to get your bottle of Barrel Select from Larceny. Payless Liquors is open 7 days a week, so you can pay less for your liquor.
When you've got a strong will, you do it your own way. When you're not willing to compromise, second best never crosses your mind. So when you're looking for a dependable used work truck, you'll know you'll find exactly what you're looking for at Indy Trucks. Cargo vans, box trucks, utility, you name it. Indy Trucks has it at 96th and Keystone, or the new location off I-65 at the Edinburgh exit, or IndyTrucks.com. When you want it your way, you'll get it your way at Indy Trucks.
The Ride with JMV.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. Anthony Walker Jr., Matt Taylor, Kevin Bowen. Podcast today, 1075thefan.com. Race of the day coming up. We're going to be at Harris Hoosier Park in Anderson coming up tomorrow. Our Larceny Locks, our Luna Azul tequila shots coming up tomorrow. I start at 3. You can join me. We'll have some free-flowing, as I like to put it, Larceny bourbon for you. Brent Holverson and I don't know, is John from Connecticut going to do picks tomorrow? And I know Tucker Barnhart wanted to do picks tomorrow. I have not heard from him. So hopefully that's the case. But we'll be there. 3 o'clock for me tomorrow. 4:30 for Brent. Grady's on the show tomorrow at 4. Mike Chappell at 5. It is going to be a great time. So why don't you just join us? Hey, JMV at 1070thefan.com is the email address. Seriously, why don't you join us? Hey, JMV, I'm a teacher at Wayne Township, and I wanted to say thanks for all your charity work for Teachers Treasures this week. Because of donations and events like your golf outing, I'm able to get much-needed and appreciated materials for my students every year. Attached is a photo of what I was able to get from them just yesterday. A big thanks to you and all who have donated to Teachers Treasures. That is Adam, P.S. I listen daily on my drive home and always enjoy it. I'm a 92 grad of Martinsville, so I love all your references to Southern Indiana and an era we grew up in. Adam, thank you. I love Teachers' Treasures, and you know how much I love our educators and teachers. It means so much to me, and getting an email and a picture like that makes it all worthwhile. All worthwhile. And being that you're a 92 grad, Ryan Wolf's daughter plays on my daughter's basketball team. And remember, you had both he and Big Bob Denton, and you had Chris Wilburn on the same squad back in the day. Seriously, I saw them. Was it 91 or 92? I saw them when they were number 1. They go to Bedford North Lawrence. That had to be 91. They go to Bedford North Lawrence and get absolutely screwed out of their mind. Now, they'll say now that, hey, you know what, that's just the way that it was going on the road, and that was single-class basketball. I've never seen a team get so screwed by officiating than they did in that game. Well, I have. Michael Burris for Easton, when we played B&L in the Sawmill down there, Michael Burris scored the first 11 points of the game as a freshman, and the next 3 whistles were all fouls on him. I thought my friend Mark Barnheiser was going to just wreck everybody, who was the coach of the Thunderbirds at the time. But no, yeah, up until that point, that game, B&L in Martinsville, and I got a lot of friends that was on that Bedford team too, and I like him a great deal, but I've never seen a team get so screwed. The Sawmill, everybody. Out of their mind. Hey, inside the lounge, if you guys want to get there before the end of the show, we actually do this. We actually do this whenever I'm gone. It's just like an empty chair here, but you guys can still participate, listen, do whatever. You think that's really Chris Hagan inside the lounge there, or is that a fake Chris Hagan? What are the odds that that's the real Chris Hagan in there? Hey, man, did you watch 59? I was on 59. Of course, we were dominating the television sports shows on Sunday night per usual. Because I do sports hits with Hagan in my underwear from my living room, and it's glorious. But unfortunately, on Sunday, we still dominated. Don't get me wrong. I mean, just kicking everybody's ass. We were still dominating, and my stinking phone shut down while I was doing it from my living room. That's a pitfall. You know, it's much better doing it from my living room in my underwear than it is putting on, nice clothes and going into 59. But one of the pitfalls would be my stinking phone shut down. But it was all good. I'm going to try to do that every Sunday night with Hagan. I love doing it. I love the fact, because it's always been a dream of mine to do my job sitting around in my underwear. And I just sit in my underwear in the living room, boom, right in front of a camera and do it, and it is glorious. So shout out to Hagan and Fox 59. Hagan says it's him. I'm skeptical. It's 5:45. I don't know if Hagan's up yet. I am not sure that Hagan's up yet. Hey, we got to hit a break here, too. I have the race of the day coming up. I saw this a little bit earlier. My friend Max Landis, obviously his dad's Mike Landis. We play hoops all the time. Max plays over in Portugal and had a fantastic game. He's coming off an injury. He rehabbed as hard as anybody could rehab. 28-3, and he's got to work on that rebounding. He rebounds like his dad. And his dad's got those little short arms, so I don't know if that's – Max has got longer arms. 28-3-1 MVP. He plays in Porto, Portugal. It is a great deal. And you know what? I admire him so much because he still gets paid to play basketball. That's the dream right there, everybody. That is the dream. And he's lived in Germany, in Belgium, and now Portugal. And I could not be more proud of anybody than I am of Max. That's awesome. And then coming off an injury, rehab, playing that well. So shout out to Max Landis in Portugal. That's my dream right there. Quick break, and we'll come back. Harris Hoosier Park Race of the Day's next.
Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men is now open in Greenwood. Haircuts are just $14. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Greenwood on State Road 135, just north of Smith Valley Road.
This football season, tune in to The Fan each week for the latest football news with reports from Darius Butler and Xavier Rhodes, all powered by PointsBet Sportsbook.
At Unibet Sportsbook, we know that within every bettor, there's a bet so genius, no other person on this planet could have thought of it. It's called a parlay, a custom-made bet that says, today, my confidence level is on the money. Sign up today to get a limited-time offer of a $600 risk-free bet and get $30 free to bet with. No deposit required. Download the app or visit in.unibet.com. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in Indiana. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Another reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo. What is a cash-out refinance? It's doing a cannonball from your porch.
Watch out!
That new car smell. A new college graduate in the family.
With a BA in business and a minor in medieval Renaissance poetry.
Reading the words, paid in full.
Woohoo! Did it!
At Golden Oak Lending, we speak mortgage and love translating it for our customers. Right now, rates are at a low 2.5%. Call 317-706-GOLD or visit us online at goldenoaklending.com and talk with an experienced local loan officer who will guide you every step of the way. NMLS 114937, 2.5% fixed, 2.655% APR on a conventional 15-year mortgage with 30% equity and approved credit.
Hey, it's Rob Belushi from Bill Estes Ford in Brownsburg. I have a pumpkin spice latte in my hand. The leaves are falling and the air is crisp. Brian, you know what that means?
Yeah, dude. It's truck month.
Well, for sure, Brian. But October is also baseball playoffs.
No, truck month.
Brian, my birthday is in October.
Truck month. We have to sell over 135 new and nearly new trucks this month.
Truck month means we have 85 new F-150 XLTs. You save $14,000 on all of them. Also, you pay up to $3,000 less than Kelley Blue Book on over 50 pre-owned trucks.
We have 40 new Escapes. You save $7,000 on all of them and get $2,000 more for your trade.
I know you love Truck Month, Brian, but don't you need to take your kids out on Halloween?
My kids don't go trick-or-treating, Rob. They go trick-or-trucking.
Well, bye-bye October, hello Trucktober. During Truck Month, get up to $3,000 below Kelley Blue Book on any pre-owned truck, $14,000 off any new F-150 XLT, $7,000 off any new Escape. Your key is waiting at Bill Estes Ford in Brownsburg.
All right, Harris Hoosier Park Race of the Day. Here's your lineup. Corey Sanders, Sunset Jetta. Matt Kaminsky gets Swans Made. Olivia Walker with Fear the Sea. Colin Hayes gets Locked Up. Midnight Cookie goes to Sean Ray. It's Adam Steele with Swandria. Starlit Lukewarm, Drew Hanks. Dave Grimes gets Soiree Favorite. Big Time Brooke goes to Patrick Clark. And Leonard Gregory gets Chicago Cash. 50-50 VIP package up for grabs here. It's the Harris Hoosier Park Race of the Day. Good luck.
The following is presented by the Indiana Standard Bred Breed Development Program. From Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino, it's time for the Harness Race of the Day on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Off stride, Swan favorite before the start. Out for the lead, it's Midnight Cookie. From the inside, Sunset Jetta. Trotting out third, Locked Up, and to the outside of fourth, it's Big Time Brooke. Swandria is away fifth as they head to the first turn. Chicago Cash at the inside is sixth. Starlet Lukewarm trotting away seventh. As they race over to the first quarter mile marker, off stride was Swans Made. The trailer back trotting now is Swan Favorite. 29-4 the opening quarter. That's Midnight Cookie. The Thundercrack filly leading the way to the backstretch. Sunset Jetta to the inside will follow the leader. Locked Up settles in third. And coming to the outside, getting it away from fourth, it's Big Time Brooke. Inside to fifth, Swandria. Then a Chicago Cash in sixth, with Starlet Lukewarm in seventh, and Fear the Sea eighth. Back trotting ninth, it's Swan's Maid, and far back off stride, it's Swan Favorite. The half, 101, 1/5, and a lead change here as Big Time Brook makes a big time move to the lead. Big Time Brook clearing to the front. She takes command 2. Midnight Cookie to the inside is second. Sunset Jetta back to the inside. Races third with a gap of 3 to Swandrea. She advances fourth as Locked Up goes off stride. Also with a move, it's Chicago Cash coming to the outside. They approach the 3/4 mile marker. Big Time Brook is there first. Midnight Cookie right there on the inside. Close to the filly in second. 132 3/4, angling to the outside, Sunset Jenna. They've less than an eighth of a mile to go, and here's Midnight Cookie to retake the lead. Midnight Cookie, Big Time Brook of the inside. Sunset Jenna continues to rally well. Swandrea there between horses, but it's Midnight Cookie to the outside. Sunset Jenna, time running out for her. She's off stride. Midnight Cookie is home free. Midnight Cookie in front.
Just minutes from Indy off I-69 in Anderson, Harrah's Hoosier Park has live standard-bred horse racing through November 21st, thanks in part to the Indiana Standard-Bred Breed Development Program. And keep listening for your chance to win with Harrah's Hoosier Park Harness Race of the Day on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. We can get you closed in as little as 30 days, and you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. Thehomeloanexpert.com.
Lawrence North hosts top-ranked Center Grove on Friday Night Football. The action begins at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
This will be the high point of my day. It's all downhill from here.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Here's Hoosier Park Race of the Day. Sean Ray goes 50-50. Betting and dining at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. We'll be there tomorrow, by the way, at 3. Midnight Cookie was your winner. $440 was the payout for the win. $3 for the place. $280 for the show. Swandrea. $540 for the place. $440 for the show. Sunset Jetta went $520 for the show. The exacta payout $25.60. The trifecta payout was $19.95. Everything back in the day. Remember all those infomercials back in the day? The Ronco Vacuumatic, that little vacuum that had a little button on it, kind of hand. Everything was $19.95 back in the day. $19.95. That was also back in the day we could get 95 CDs for 1 penny from the Columbia House in Terre Haute. It was glorious. Back in the day of CDs, when I was over in Terre Haute a couple of different times, I had, I think it was the Prezes family took me over there once. The Moores took me over to the warehouse where they have CDs for sale, I guess. You had to have somebody had to get you in. I didn't have the notoriety. I didn't have the pull to get myself in, so I went over there. And I bought a Mary J. Blige CD. I can remember it sitting right here. Remember it as clear as day. I think we all paid. We got 95 CDs for a penny a lot back in the day, didn't we? Anybody still owe that? Hey, Kyle, great job from you today. Anthony Walker Jr. of the Colts. Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts. Kevin Bowen covers the Colts. 1075thefan.com if you want to go back and listen. You'll love Anthony Walker, I promise you. A lot of defensive information right there in preparation for the Browns. Harrah's Hoosier Park in Anderson tomorrow. Brent Holverson. Varsity Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots coming up at 4:30. Michael Grady, Mike Chappell as well. And I'll kick it off at 3 o'clock. Harrah's Hoosier Park in Anderson tomorrow. 93.5, 107.5 at 1070 The Fan. Have a great night.
We all see the world a little differently now. We notice little things we used to take for granted, like driving. Something as simple as just hopping in the car to go to work or take the kids to school. But roads don't just happen. They're built by men and women living in central Indiana. It's as easy to take those workers for granted as the concrete and asphalt you drive on. Members of Laborers International Union of North America maintain and build Hoosiers' roads, bridges, and highways. They're the ones you pass as you drive by the orange barrels. It's hard work. It's dangerous work.